watching Nomad at night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, no maniacs, super no maniacs, and everybody in and all in between, man. Welcome to the show, your favorite Wednesday night host, man. Welcome to some extra sauce, man. We came here to bring it tonight, man. Let me do a little bit of house cleaning before we get started and take it where we need to go. Saturday, we're going to push the Friday prospect show that we were supposed to do on Friday back to Saturday at the exact same time at 8 o'clock Central. Why? Because my girlfriend's on vacation, and that's her last day of vacation. It's Friday night. So I had to push it back one day, and we're going to get into, some more of those prospects. And I'm going to do it right for you guys. You know what? I think everybody is interested in the trenches. I think that's the conversation everybody wants to have. What are we going to do in the trenches? And we're going to make that a particular show all about that, and we're going to make it special for you guys. Got a boatload for you guys to look at, players to talk about. We'll get into that on Saturday at 8 p.m. Central. Let me get that. I had to get that out there before we get started because I wanted to speak this into existence, man. Like I've been doing a whole lot of stuff. I think we're trendsetters out here, Kedz and Trips, man. We get these conversations started about different stuff. Everybody was just gung-ho, and they probably still are about, Trey Smith, and he's a great guard. But nobody wanted to talk about some of these other guys that are on the board for a whole lot less money. It's not about money. It's about fit and the situation. It might actually be about money in this situation in order for you to do what you execute the plan in the offseason that you want. For all I know and all we know, Trey Smith is the epitome of what they think they should do in the offseason. Make sure they get that guy first. I don't know. They might spend $20 million on a guard, but if they don't, so the conversation about James Daniels, the conversation about Mekhi Becton, really ginning the hell up. All of a sudden this week, I know we were probably pretty much the first guys on the block talking about that. But all of a sudden, guys are ginning up talking about that a whole hell of a lot now. And I just wanted to mention that because we got another conversation to have for you guys later on that hasn't been talked about whatsoever amongst the Bears community. I'm going to talk about that here in a few. But we'll lead to that. You know what I mean? We'll talk about some of that free agency stuff that's out there. We'll take a good look at that again because somebody, we get a lot of comments after the show, Kedz and Trips, and people say a whole lot of stuff to us. And I think they want us to go back and take a look at free agency again. I'm not saying we have to do the whole exercise again. Just take a look at some situations and just kind of evaluate it again. Got some interesting, I got an interesting something from Chat GPT. Thank Kedz for me and Chat GPT because I had no actual use for it. At least I didn't think until I did something. I threw a scenario into Chat GPT to see what the algorithm would tell AI and what AI would come up with as a composite. I think you guys might be interested. It's a whole bunch of, basically it's an out there scenario. I would just say that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But before we get to all of that stuff, we got plenty to talk about here in this Bears offseason. I'm not one of those people that believes the offseason is a lack of content to talk about. I think that's total BS. I think this is the time where everybody, the real Bears content creators, the real football people can really eat like me. And these guys here, we can really have some great discussions and some great prospects to talk about. But we'll save that for later and pass it on to my guy, the Canuck, for some pleasantries before we go around.
Well, it's Wednesday. Welcome to Extra Sauce. Give quick shout-outs to the folks who are in. I'm sure other folks will join up as we go along, and I'll give you guys some love at that point as well. Starting with the homie Marco King. Marco, big shout-outs to you for sure. Been seeing you all over the stuff that's been going on here this week. A little bit of a shout out to my guy Nomad. We'll just start out with that too, who's been putting out a little bit more frequent content out there. I'm keeping my eye on it. Been doing a good job, and I do see you out there, Marco. You're paying attention. So shout out to you to start things out. Shout out to Nomad. Big love to It's Crimson who's out there with us. Thanks for representing Crimson. Shout out to Nick Nick Rembert, and Paul Rodriguez, my guy. Big shout out to you as well. Like I say, folks will start jumping up in here sooner or later. And always love to the homie underneath me, Mr. Triple R. How is it going? What's popping, my brother? Oh, shout out to McFack before we do. What are you saying, bro?
All right, what up, Kedz? What up, Nomad? All the No Maniacs, all the Super No Maniacs, and such. All looks good. Just always look forward to the discussion because we can talk like adults, sometimes act like children. It's all good.
Hey, I like the new setup, Trish, with the mic. I like that, man. I'm digging that.
It's not new.
I mean, it's like my first time really noticing. You used to do a lot of content off your computer's microphone, which wasn't bad at all, whatsoever. I didn't have no problem with it, but that's very cool, man. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think I'm just at a different angle.
I was just gonna say he's been had that mic forever, man. It's just
I know he's had it, but I hadn't spoken it, because I was, I just had to put that out there. But anyway, speaking to what you just mentioned, Kedz, about the new content, I think you all deserve more than what we have given, and the daily content is coming. I'm going to churn out a whole bunch of it, and hopefully I won't be doing it all by myself. And everybody, any Trips, Kedz, anybody can get in on it that has anything to say about any subject, but you can expect a whole lot more of that coming, man, because there's all kinds of conversations to be had. I had never done really a recorded content, video or anything like that. I just decided there's a lot more to talk about than we can all get into all the time on these shows. Like the first couple were, what's going to happen with Zach Pickens, what's going to happen, what's going on with Tyler Scott. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. But trust me when I tell you, there's a boatload more where that came from. Trust me when I tell you. I think every day I'm going to put out something. It might be 2 or 3 videos. You never know. I just believe that the Bears, as content creators over here, one thing I can relate to, and I think you all can too. When we first got into, viewing the content, consuming the content, and like me as a voracious Bears content guy, I was looking for anything I can find for the most part. Some of it I ran into was clickbait, straight up clickbait. You got AI out here making, videos, by someone is giving AI instructions to make those things, but it's just so much clickbait out there. I had to learn how to navigate through all that. But what I'm saying is I had to learn how to appreciate really, really good Bears content, the people that really spend time, put the effort into what they're putting out there. So I was one of those people that couldn't get enough of it no matter what. And so with that same energy, I'm going to go hard at making sure I get you guys some content out here every day. Sometimes just 1, sometimes 2, 3, depending on what's going on in that day. I'm going to churn out content for you guys and give you guys more for we appreciate you subscribers. We appreciate you Super No Maniacs that pay $5 a month for content. I'm going to make sure you guys get rewarded. That's my promise to you guys. Make sure you get rewarded. But let's go around the horn, man. Let's talk some shit a little bit, Kedz. Let's talk about anything going on up there in Canada, man. You might want to talk about that you mentioned behind the scenes.
Nothing but your damn president. So that's all that's popping, really. Canada going, I don't even know what's going on anymore. You know what, man? Like, I don't know whether I like this guy or I hate him. I'm leaning much more towards hatred right now, but I am going to give him one little bit of props today. Your president took a direct shot at paper straws, and I gotta give him some love for that, man. Because I hate paper straws. Drives me crazy. Just the
paper. Wait a minute, paper straw.
Paper straws, bro. Like pet peeve. What's your pet peeve? Yo, paper straws are right up there. Like I don't just generally hate stuff. I flipping hate paper straws, bro. As an idea, huh?
You ever seen a paper straw? I ain't never seen a paper straw.
You've never set a plastic there made of paper, yeah.
Never seen a paper straw. Like, bro, there was like a whole. So let me tell the paper straw tale. paper straw tale goes like this. There was a turtle. It's in the ocean, and a plastic straw found its way up into like the turtle's nose, and the turtle couldn't remove the plastic straw on his own volition. It was a big thing. It's all over the news. People are worried about the pollution, but let me rephrase now. As opposed to really actually worrying about pollution, which is really the general issue at hand, everybody zeroed in on the straw. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, plastic straws are evil, and this is what we do in North American society. As opposed to dealing with the actual problem, pollution, we find some kind of BS to zero in on and blame. So the BS in this situation was the straw. Plastic straws are evil. They must go. So for the last, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, the production of plastic straws has been minimized. They've ramped up the production of paper straws. What this really means, y'all, really, 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 is that somebody in the background is like, yo, I own a paper company. Somebody working at Dunder Mifflin and shit. Somebody's working at Dunder Mifflin like, yo, we're going to make a bunch of money off paper straws. So somebody out there just guapped up. Somebody made a bunch of money off of paper straws by, pushing down plastic straws to the background. So like when I go to the store now and I'm looking for plastic straws, it ain't easy. I don't know about out there. Definitely in Canada, hard to get a hold of a friggin' plastic straw to the level.
That shit makes about as much sense as plastic ass toilet paper to me. I don't.
Toilet paper?
I mean,
you mean paper straws? Yes.
I mean, that makes about that much sense to me. Just listen to you describe it. I've never seen a plastic.
You've never seen a paper straw? I'm losing my mind. It's crazy. Crazy, bro. So like things to note. Under normal pretenses, you go to like a Wendy's, you get yourself a combo, and you have a drink, right? You got a drink, you got a plastic straw in that thing. Wendy's went as far as changing the lids on the drinks so that it like has its own opening now and you don't need a straw. People went out of their way to flip the script and get rid of plastic straws. Trump came back and he's like, yo, you know what? F them paper straws. he has it. I couldn't stop laughing, guy. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, this is hilarious, but I was going crazy about paper straws because they're like a thing. I had to order plastic straws on Amazon because I couldn't find them at Walmart.
What you drinking that you need so many goddamn straws?
Bro, I don't even drink pop, but I was mad that I couldn't find the damn straws at the anyways, pet peeve. I literally stopped drinking pop. I stopped drinking basically anything that requires a straw or like you might use a straw for. Now I just drink water and coffee and maybe a tea here and there and booze. Anyways, but moral of the story is I was like, bro, okay, I'm with it. Let's get them plastic straws back.
Hey, by the way, shout out to my guy Crimson, man. He became the newest member of the Wrench Mob. We're gonna call that. And the Wrench Mob up in this motherfucker.
Oh, yo, Paul Rodriguez, preach, Kedz. Paper straws is the Mark Trestman of the food industry.
Yeah, man. I was just trying to. I'll get to him.
That's hilarious.
Gotta give Crimson a shout out. He became the newest moderator. He's a part of the Wrench Mob.
Right on, Dr. Wrench.
Big Crimson, right on.
That's crazy. I'm sorry.
He said paper straws is all right. You gotta help me with that one.
That's hilarious.
Food industry.
I mean, I know I've had paper straws before, and they were horrible because they just kind of dissolve, and it's like
they dissolve in your drink.
Right? Hey, what am I doing? What are we doing?
It's disintegrating in my drink. Now I'm eating like pulpy, slushy. Anyways, just the worst idea of all time. But it's been banging pretty hard, especially in Canada. You know what I'm saying? So it was just funny to me that he actually went down this road. But on the flip side,
okay, hold on. For what? Number one, what do you consider somebody? What's the ratio to have a person be considered as a regular for fast food? Like I'm probably we're like once a month around here. What would you consider as Trip Kids? What would you consider as a regular of a fast food consumer? 2-3 days a week, 4 days a week? What do you consider?
To me, it depends what kind of fast food you're eating, more so than like whether you order it in or not.
I say at least minimum of 3 days a week.
3 days a week. All right, that makes fair sense to me. I eat a fair amount of like takeout, but it's not like fast food. And
Okay.
that's kind of how I put. I've tried my best.
Got to your house pretty quickly. It's fast.
But it generally isn't all that quick. You know what I mean? Like I do a little bit of pizza here and there, not frequently. I have been doing some chicken lately because got a real good deal at Mary Brown's Canadian business. Shout out Mary Brown's. Outside of that, you know what I've been like. I eat different stuff, man. I eat pho or pho, depending on what you want to call it. I eat Vietnamese food, Thai food. It's very healthy. It's not really fast. But, yeah, what he said. what he said. But like, you know what I mean? Like I've been. My kid came here for Super Bowl. I got a little bit sick with all the folks who were here. And this week I've been ordering in soup, basically. It's called pho. And they make some badass pho, man. Like bad soup. Put some sriracha in there for some spice. You know? Clear out
listening to you talk behind the scenes. I'm glad this came up now because listening to Kedz talk behind the scenes. He talks as though like he is like the soup doctor. Like he will doctor us from soup on a moment's notice. Like I can't imagine in my wildest dreams buying some soup from somewhere else. As good as I know I am at making soup, I ain't buying that shit from nowhere else. When I go out and get something to eat, I'm getting me some straight up bullshit. Straight off the top. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I ain't getting no motherfucking soup. I can promise you.
Well, like if you go to Panera Bread or someplace like that and get the soup bowls, where it's like, you know, a big ass bread, and then they put soup in there.
I couldn't never bring myself to go eat there. Like somebody said they had soup, and I was like, "Oh, is that what they sell there?" Because, like, you know,
Panera sandwiches, you know,
make yourself a damn sandwich. It just didn't.
Deli. It's not a deli, and it's not, you know, a lot of greasy stuff, but it's still fast food.
Yeah, I couldn't. I've never eaten there to this day. We've got a bunch of them here in town. I'll go to a deli in a minute and get a badass sandwich. I will, but like, I don't know. I just didn't. I don't know, man. I couldn't figure it. But yo, pho is some crazy soup, bro. You put a little bit of hoisin in there, a little bit of that sriracha. Boom, you're doing it, man. It's
damn if I'm spending like we order out on. Like my girlfriend, now that she has an afternoon job, our workout schedules ain't the same. So I work out pretty much on my own. But before we worked out together and around the house and we get done, and our cheat day was usually Friday or Saturday. And I get irritated than a motherfucker when she uses, like we go back and forth on who used the cheat day for what. So it's both, we gotta both be in it, right? So whatever I decide on the cheat day, that's what we eat. Whatever
that's me.
When she get fucking Chinese food, and I'm all right. I'm like, okay, I get the shit, but I'm hungry like in a few minutes later because I ain't eating all that rice, man. I'm not. I might eat some shrimp fried rice, maybe some chicken fried rice, but I'm usually that dude. I usually get that beef and broccoli. That's my thing. That beef and broccoli is what I like, man. You know what I mean? And I don't eat the rice that comes with it, so. Yeah, man, I get irritated when she wants to use a cheat day to eat some healthy shit.
Man, there's so much. Get you some shrimp and lobster sauce.
Nah,
man. Get you some orange chicken.
That's too sweet.
Oh shit, you sour mouth motherfucker! What the hell?
Yo, yeah, man. Oh no, like that's me too, man. I will dust off some Chinese in a minute.
Ashby chicken.
Yeah, man.
Man.
Garlic shrimp.
I like y'all ever eat shrimp egg fouillon?
Yeah.
Shrimp at Fouillon.
My wife loves
gravy. When you got you go to a place that got elite gravy, man, it's a place not too far from me, but I can't get her to eat it, man. She just her shrimp, eggs, and gravy just fucks with her mind. You know, she can't fuck with it. But I love it. You know what I mean? I think it's great.
Somebody mentioned I saw there in the chat.
What?
Shout out to Chef Trips.
Oh, yeah,
but yeah, you know, Chef Trips, I think y'all should look out for he had a recipe like some Asian stuff. And you know, you got the shrimp fried rice and egg foo young, shrimp egg foo young, you know, chicken egg foo young, all egg foo young, basically. And it's a beautiful thing, you know, got them sprouts in there, the nice veggies, and so thick.
I'm all about,
so ample.
That rice, all about. I mean, that's all they eat in the Caribbean, man. It's all rice and peas. So
hey yo, fellas, up until about a year or two ago, you know those little sprouts you talking about that comes with the, you know, the fried rice and the, you know, the foo youngs and all that.
Bean
those are just like long onions. I didn't know what those things were.
Yeah, bean sprouts. It was delicious.
Yo, that goes in the foam, man. You just drop that in.
Yeah,
eat that soup, man. That's good, man. That's good stuff. I had a bunch of
that. I know. I was up until about a year or two ago. I was just like, man, these onions up in here, they be putting in this shit, be hitting it. They be just hitting it right, making it go right off the top, man, and over the top. I mean, man, dude, shrimp fried rice. I love me a good egg roll when you know, good shrimp egg roll or chicken egg roll. Love me some beef roll. And the place I go to, they fried chicken wings are spectacular.
So, you want fried chicken wing?
Every now and again, you know, you try to rib, depending on where you go. That shit might be too dry for you, but you know, sometimes, man, the Asian people make some pretty good rack of ribs, bro.
Now, don't. It was a spot in Chinatown, and they got the ducks. You know, the dead duck hanging from the window.
Yeah, bro. That's how you know.
And you get a duck, a half a duck or a whole duck, whatever, and they put it over rice and they, you know, chop it up for you. And it's so succulent and it's so delicious, and that beautiful duck and nice sauce. It might be a little too sweet for you there, Sugar Lips. You know. Yeah, so,
I don't like the sweet shit, man. Only thing sweet I like on the Asian menu. I'm the most, you know, standard menu. I buy the most standard shit like the crab rangoon. I like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
With some duck sauce, man. I love that shit.
Well, now duck sauce is kind of sweet though.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to have that on that though, man. You got. I eat some of the sauces, man, but I'm just not like that orange chicken. I've had some in different places. I think maybe because I got it somewhere, it was so damn sweet, it was almost intolerable to me. My mother.
Well, that's the thing is there's so many different Chinese food, chop suey places, and they all make the same shit different. Yeah. You know, there is not one recipe on how to make, you know, fried rice.
Right.
You know, so everybody has their own little twist on it, their own little flair. And so you could go to one spot and be like, yo, this is the bomb, or this place is horrible. And then go to a different place and it's like, I want to get that because it was so good, or I'm not going to get that because it was horrible. And it'll be totally different anyway.
See,
you know, a lot of it, I think, is it could be the regions that it's from, the countries that it's from, because they all do it a little bit different. You know, as long as you got that ginger and that garlic, and it's best to use that 2-day-old rice. Oh, because I got a, what do you call it? An Instapot. Rice is perfect every time. Brown rice.
I was going to buy my girlfriend one of those, the Insta cooker. What is it?
Instapot.
Oh, she got an Instapot. Do you do rice in there too?
Yeah. It's perfect.
I'm going to buy her a whole separate little contraption just for rice because she likes rice like that.
Nah, because I only do the brown rice. So you put it's 1 cup of water to 1 cup of rice, 25 minutes. You know, 3 cups, 1 cup, 25 minutes.
It comes out perfect.
Every time. Nice and fluffy.
Is it not stuck together and all that?
No, it's nice and fluffy.
Tell my girl that. She said, what you say, cup of rice, cup of water?
Yeah,
because it's usually 2 to 1.
Well, no, that's why I had to specify because it's 1-to-1.
Brown rice is 1-to-1, is what you're saying.
In this Instapot, it's 1 cup of brown rice, 1 cup of water for 25 minutes. If you use 3 cups of rice, 3 cups of water for 25 minutes.
And maybe
but it's 1-to-1 ratio.
Maybe I won't tell my girlfriend. I'm trying to get her to stop eating all that goddamn starch. She ain't supposed to, but she just been straight up. She done went rogue on me on keto diet, and she doing her own shit. But you know, I mean, she'll eat some rice once in a while, but she got a bad. Let's just say this, man. I hope she don't hear me, but she picked up a couple of pounds and she don't like it. Eating all that pasta and rice, that's what your ass get.
Well, you know, just do little stuff like try brown rice instead of white. You know, just change it up a little bit because it's still rice and it's probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's a little bit healthier. And you know, as you age, cough, cough, wink, wink. You know, they don't want to admit it, but as you know, those years, more weight comes. You just fill out. It's just nature. You know, your body, you become more sedentary. You're eating, you know, more foods that are just puffing you up. You know, you try to work out, you try to keep up with it, but it's a battle because food tastes so good. It goes down so easy. And one big dish of some beautiful Alfredo, fettuccine Alfredo with some scrimps up in there, maybe some grilled chicken, and then you gotta have some wine or something with it, you know, to wash it down. You know, wine got calories.
Talking about, hey Trips, you talking about being healthy, man. I don't know I don't want to give him a nothing because so Irv Gotti passed away this week. You know, founder of Murder Inc. The record label. He was responsible for putting out Ashanti, you know, Ja Rule, you know, the Charlie Baltimore. He didn't put her out first, but you know, those are a few of the acts on his label. I think Lloyd, R&B singer. So he passed away from complications from strokes. So about a year ago, he had a couple of strokes, you know, back to back in succession. And you know, I think more recently, you know, he had he had some diabetes issues. So what I'm trying to say is, so you know, you listen to the people that are close to Irv Gotti, they'll tell you everything you need to know about why it went the way. He's 54 years old. And so he's a young man and he died early, and that's because he likes to party. And so me being a person that enjoys partying and doing all the stuff that comes with it, minus the drugs, you know, the drinking and all that and partying and having a good time, like to eat. That's another thing that came out of it. When you eat reckless and you drink and you party, you have to have a proper balance. You got to exercise. And so what is that? What do I mean by that? In order to keep the blood, I mean, you got strokes that happen, you got, you know, heart attacks, all because blood clots, all because the constriction of your blood flow. You know, your blood stops, you know, really circulating the way you need it to, and you're eating reckless and partying, you know, eventually it's going to be you're a ticking time bomb. And so my advice to everybody that's listening, make sure you mix in the proper amount of exercise with your party. If you like to have a good time like me, have a good time exercising too. Make sure that's part of your routine. You got to have it if you want to stay alive and have a healthy life. You got to have it. You got to have some kind of exercise and keeping some good cardio to keep your blood circulating, or you're going to be that ticking time bomb Irv Gotti is. There's no reason in the world why this guy should be dead, but he liked to do the MDMA drugs, and, you know, I heard that he likes coke and drinking too much and eating wild shit, and all of that, you know, has a time limit, right? That's all it is to it. Drinking, smoking, eating crazy, time limit. I just wanted to speak on that and see if you guys had a take on it.
You know, it's too late to ask him now, but I guess we can ask anybody else that enjoys the booger sugar. Do y'all like the paper straws with that, or is it plastic only?
What'd you say, Trip?
Only plastic, damn it.
You know, we're having the paper or plastic straw conversation. You know, for those that want a little toots here and there, you know, with the little booger sugar, does the paper work as well as the plastic or plastic only? or because just rolling up those dollar bills, y'all.
I couldn't tell you, man. I never.
But it's crazy the way that people live, and you want to have sympathy for them, but it's like, hey, you live fast, you die young, you ride yourself hard constantly.
Trips. He was, man. That dude was he's a piece of work. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, the more you ride yourself hard and put yourself away wet, the more you're shortening your life. I think the commercial back in the day was every puff you take of a cigarette takes off 7 minutes of your life or some shit like that. Like, now you know, as if you didn't already.
Did know, damn it. But I quit.
See? I used to smoke, the Newport 100s. Everybody did coming up in the hood. Cools. What was you puffing on? Let me get a square. You know what I'm saying?
See? Those are the good old days, man, because it's like
right.
we don't get either one of those out here. So they kind of have to come in. We had this one home, man, I'm trying to remember the homie's name, man. One homie from North Carolina, North Kakalaka. We used to call him Kakalaka. That's all I can remember. Anyways, used to bring us the cools, used to bring us the Newports, and they were awesome. And I never looked back. But now in my old age, I had to say, dead that stuff. So no more for this guy. We're on like month 4 now. Cold turkey. It's working.
And now, have you noticed at all that you can go up a flight of stairs and not be like,
no.
I haven't gotten that far yet. All right, well, keep going. You'll be all right. You get there.
I'm just teasing. Actually, what's funny is like right after I quit smoking, I moved my setup to the basement. So now I'm forced to do like 2 flights of stairs more than I usually do. So I'm just first day was like, man, this is gonna be a thing. But after the first day, it's been cool, man. So I'm
there you go.
It is.
And then also you'll notice that the smell. It's like, ooh, I used to smell like this all the time. That's awful when you're around people that are smoking.
Yeah. There's the smell, and there's also the taste of things. So now, like when you start to taste stuff, it's like, yo, this stuff tastes awesome. Where had my taste buds been all this time?
To be honest with you, man, the key to it all is the food, the smoke, the drink are toxins. The key word to it all is toxins. If you do any and all of that stuff like most people do, it's what you don't do that's going to hurt you. And that is sweat the toxins out. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. I know a damn near 100-year-old lady that drinks and smokes every damn day, all damn day in Mississippi, in damn Columbus, Mississippi, and walking around kicking ass, dude. And she works and runs every single day.
Taking nice fits. That's how them old Jewish people did it.
Man.
Back, go sweat it out and come out all fresh. After nice fits, or those that Italians, one of those cultures, I don't know. But yeah, it's, just as long as you're drinking a lot of water, you're flushing your body out constantly, daily, with a gallon of water a day. You're having some green veggies, every now and then, and you're avoiding going to fast food, which includes coffee places, more than twice a week.
Yeah.
You cut back on stuff because all that stuff from out in the street, it's all bad for you. You got to start cooking your shit at home. I know it's a pain. I know it's hard for some of you people who work. Try those. There are companies out there now that actually send you food that they make. They're like TV dinners, but like fancy.
Yeah.
Try some of that, but get away from, is it kangaroo meat? Is it alpaca? What y'all really working with, McDonald's? Because I don't think it's beef.
Yeah.
Y'all ain't got cows like that.
Whatever it is, it's pretty tasty. But let me holler at Minister Charles, man. Minister Charles had to give us this stern warning. He said, let's be careful with what we're saying. I had strokes in January 25th of 2023, February 26th of 23, May 30th of 2023, and I didn't live foul at all. So watch your mouth. Minister
Wait, didn't live foul then or didn't live foul ever? Because wasn't he a recovering pimp?
I don't know, man. You have to talk to Minister Charles about
being a pimp.
You can always fall off the wagon and be like, hey, a female that's weak in the knees. Oh, I caught the vapors. It's like, yeah, come there.
Shout out to Minister Charles, man. You know we ain't mean nothing by that. That just happened to be a part of the conversation. But let me holler at Scrolls right quick, who mentioned something to me. He's saying that, I've heard this for years. When I was living in Atlanta, I heard this about Puff, that they're saying Puff has HIV. And Justin Timberlake just got exposed for having Truvada in his system, which is an HIV drug. I didn't know what the fuck. I see those commercials all the time, and I didn't know what the fuck that was.
Wait,
you see certain, he was talking about Puff. He said Puff is suffering, and I had heard for years that Puff had AIDS or HIV. I heard that for years.
Wow,
when I was down in Atlanta, I was hearing about that in the streets.
I don't know him like that, but okay, I could see it. He's swinging both sides of the plate. You know what I'm saying? They found 1,000 bottles of baby oil and they ain't found no Jimmy hats.
Man.
You know what I mean? And he rode riding up Hershey highways and all kind of routes that people don't need to be taking.
I have no sympathy for foul ass people. And that dude, by all accounts, again, I've never met him, just like neither one of us have, but I can discern what I can discern, and I'm pretty goddamn good at it. That's a piece of work right there. And whatever he's got and whatever he's suffering through, I have no remorse for. None.
But now what Justin Timberlake, he just brought sexy back. What are they saying that the drug gave him the HIV, and why is he taking the drug if he didn't have HIV? What happened to Justin?
Hey man,
But wait a minute, like why did they check Justin for drugs
and HIV specifically?
Nah, that's just stuff that comes out. People, like, I don't care how good or how well paid you are, how many really good assistants you have. Like, all it takes is for a doctor to leak some shit out. You know what I mean? Just anonymously leak some shit out, and there go just bust your whole shit up. And so it wouldn't surprise me that Hollywood is full of HIV, full of herpes. Like, at your average person that you see on screen, it wouldn't surprise me that, probably one or two of them probably got one or the other, or both, because it's a small ass community in Hollywood. These people, this is a small pool of people that they work with, and they all, it's just, any kind of, that's a long ass conversation for me. We got too much Bears content to talk about. We'll try to pick
up. Got the hivs out there with them Hollywood orgies and such. I done heard about them. I done seen the porns. Heard about the porns.
Well, it looks like folks can live off of this now. So I don't know, man. Like Charlie Sheen apparently has it, and he's living just fine.
Shit, Magic Johnson.
We're well aware about the magic and magic. So
you can live with it, but how many people out there having straight up raw dog in it with motherfuckers that look totally normal to you? It's just like, that's scary as shit. Scary as shit.
Yeah. Well, now they say that HIVs is one thing, but herpes is making a comeback. A lot of that being spread around. Because a lot of uncleanness going on in the nether regions, and then they partaking in the sexual activities and not warning their partners. That's how you get a motherfucker choked out.
Well,
Minister Charles, hold on. Let me holler at Minister Charles. Minister Charles wants to know what's going on with his. He's a normal supernomaniac and a member, and I don't know. He's telling me his subscription is not being processed. I can't really give you an explanation from our side of it, because when I looked at it, when you said it to me before, I saw no problem. It looked like you were still a member, but I'm looking at you on the screen and it don't show any membership. But there's only so much I can tell you from this side of it, how something gets processed. If If it's not processed, I guess I don't see it. You know, all I know is who's a member and who's not. I don't see any information to be able to give you any feedback, Minister Charles. So I would just say keep trying. I'll look into it again.
I think you got to be a member to be able to just post, right?
No, not in this show. We started the show off like that with members only. Right. Now it's subs only. We'll get back to that once we move this thing around a little bit. But yeah, all that we can have some more conversations about all this. But we got some Bears content to talk about, man. And let's get right on into it because we did a post game show Sunday, but I don't know how well we got into what we saw on the field, Kedz and Trips. And immediately after the show, because I remember doing it live when I was just like, you know, I was telling you everybody's going to be talking about what we need to do in the trenches because it was obvious to me why Philadelphia won that game. They were more dominant in the trenches on both sides of the ball, were they not? Kedz is muted.
Oh, my bad. I was just I'm saying yeah, absolutely. The other big thing to come to light there, just to pay attention to, is the fact that Trey Smith, Josh Sweat, and Mekhi Becton are potentially up for grabs sooner or later.
Yeah, but you know, we're gonna get right to that in just a second. Did you come away with the same thoughts after watching the game, Trips, that team was more dominant in the trenches and they got it right in the trenches, and it was obvious the entire game?
Defense wins championships because the Eagles was all up in Mahomes' ass, you know, in a way that Puffy wouldn't even approve of. And he had no time to do nothing. They had no run game. And it was like, yeah, this looks like a Matt Nagy offense right here. So when you have that kind of constant pressure, you know, Kansas City got one good offensive lineman, and that's Trey Smith. So, I mean, the other guys were just leaking. And then the Eagles on, you know, their defensive line, they got enough players to, you know, have the hockey subs and, you know, swap out 4 guys and still have, you know, threats to get to the quarterback inside and out from all positions on the line. And then the Eagles' offensive line, you know, gave Hurts and the opportunity to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. You want to pass? All right, we'll block for you long enough. You want to run? Okay, we'll open some lanes. And then you got, you know, Barkley back there, but they didn't even really utilize him like that in the Super Bowl. But they had an all-around good team, offense, defense, starting with the trenches. And that's the Eagles I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, man? You know, they now in defense of Kansas City, they did a great job throttling Saquon Barkley. They didn't let him get pretty much nothing on the ground. But what stuck out to me was the offensive line, the pass pro. The pass protection was stellar. I mean, stellar. It was time. I'm watching this kid back there. I'm watching Jalen Hurts back there basically having a snack, eating a meal, and then deciding who he wants to throw the ball, if he wants to throw the ball to anybody or if he wants to run it. And so that's what stuck out to me on the Philly side of it, was how dominant they were in the pass game on offense. I'm talking about protection. And the fact that they had all that, they've got guys on that line that average 330 pounds, 335 pounds, I think they might have said during the broadcast. But that's telling. That's telling. And that's usually, you know, think about it this way. What did Kansas City think they needed to do in order to defeat the champions? So when you're a team like Philadelphia, and this is basically, I'm giving this is a bullhorn call to Ryan Poles. Figure out what the champions did that was more dominant than everybody else and got them the championship. On defense, it was strictly Chris. What's his name? Chris Jones or Chris? What is his last name?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Chris Jones?
Yeah.
Nobody could stop him. Nobody could stop that guy. And so what do you do in the offseason? You go put pieces together that can stop Chris Jones. They throttled Chris Jones. Mekhi Becton one-on-one with Chris Jones was stellar.
Mm-hmm.
Stellar. And so what they did was, the champs did this to win. this is what we're going to do to combat it if we want to get that Lombardi trophy. And so their answer to what the champions did, you're always playing chase. So what Ryan Poles needs to do right now is what did the champions do that we're going to have to do to defeat? You're going to have to get better than them in the trenches. If you want a Super Bowl, you're going to have to get better than this team in the trenches. And you can start by, pilfering a piece or two off of that team. You start there. But that's what really stuck out to me, Kedz and Trips, was the trenches. And that's definitely where we're about to go. And your thoughts on Trey Smith now? It was really going at 100 miles an hour before the Super Bowl. We need to get Trey Smith. We got to get Trey Smith. We can't come out of free agency without Trey Smith. And they seen a couple of bad reps during the Super Bowl, and soured seemed like most of the fan base on him. It's like, no, we don't need to go get Trey Smith. Do you understand that?
Look, I should probably watch this game again, and I'm never going to watch that game again. I'll just be real about it. Trey Smith had some bad reps, but for the most part, he kept Jalen Carter out of the mix. So I'm going to give him a little bit of both sides of this. But on the flip side, you also have to look at Mekhi Becton, and the way that I'm looking at it is which one of these guys is going to cost less. Like, it's just either one will help shore up this guard position. You know what I'm saying? Either one or both. So, like, if you can get them, I know you can't. I know Trey Smith is coming out there talking about $22 million. If you can get the other guy for somewhere south of that, I'd be satisfied. He's also younger, right? So, let's go.
Look at it this way, Kedz. I think that's a Super Bowl winning team's move. I don't think we're there yet. I don't know that we're going to be competing for anybody's Super Bowl this next season. And so to me, and I kept saying this, every time we did the exercise, and everybody was just like, you get Trey Smith. I just don't think we're there yet to be able to pay $22 million to a guard. I know the interior lineman position is really important, especially when you need to, when you're going to have the identity that it looks like Ben Johnson wants to have, and that is running the ball and making everything work off of that. You better make sure you got that right in the interior of your offensive line, right? You better make sure you got that right. And so obviously Trey Smith would be one of those guys you want to have the conversation about. But for 20 to 22 million, when you got other big needs to fill, I just don't know if that's the smartest thing to do. And that's my only argument with it. It's not
Well, here's something that will bolster that argument. How much do you think Trey Smith himself versus Josh Sweat and a Becton together?
That's crazy.
You talking about, hold on, you talking about 20 to 22 million, so it's 22. Becton's going to cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10, so 32 million. Josh Sweat's probably going to get 20 million too.
I'd say something. You're probably off on these numbers a little bit, but I'd say together the two of them are probably around $32 million. The two of them, if we're talking Mekhi Becton and Josh Sweat versus a $22 million payout strictly for Trey Smith. So, like, I'd rather pay the 32 to get the two guys than pay the 22 to get the one guy. But that's just me.
Yeah, so while we're having this discussion, let me take this down, man. Let me take this down, number one, because this discussion requires us to have this. James Daniels, I think we were trendsetters with that. I think nobody was talking about James Daniels. So James Daniels is coming off of a Achilles injury, I believe, and he's rehabbing that. And so his market value was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $10-12 million. I think Kedz, I think it's somewhere around that neighborhood. And some people are pushing it up to like 18 million because he was ranked one of the top guards in the league.
You said 18 million for
I've said it upwards. There's people that have that discussion before he got injured. You got to remember, he just came off
before he got injured. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. So what do you guys think about that? Now that you know that
James Daniels, I think it was one of the. I've said this multiple times on the show, but I think that was one of the bigger letdowns that Ryan Poles did. I know when you come into a building and you come in to look to scrape the roster clean, you're not looking to hurry up and pay people, right? And so you want to get rid of everything you can get rid of and start over with your players. And I think they poorly evaluated the situation and let James Daniels get out of the building. I thought
was it a situation where they let him get out of the building or he wanted to get out of the building? Because if I remember correctly, he was like, "Yeah, Hallis Hogg kiss my ass. I'm out."
No,
what did he say?
The case? No,
that was not the case. He at the end of the man, that was one hell of an end of the season presser that day. Is all I can tell you. So that presser went off. We listened to McCaskey and Phillips and Nagy and Pace, and all hell went. Everybody got fired, etc. But he was one of the final people to talk. And Potsy and him got in some sort of heated conversation. When I say heated, it was just the fact that James Daniels stopped for a minute. He was like, "Bro, I do media training. I'm taking that in university right now. And you're talking a whole lot of BS." And he kind of called Potsy out on a bunch of things that he was saying in a way that I'm sure we sort of painted a negative light on him by the brass. Is probably the best way that I could put it.
Is that a reason to let somebody?
No, bro. This is where I'm going. No, it's not a reason to let somebody go. Not only that, it's one of the immediate mistakes that Ryan Poles made, because you got a young guy who can play both guard and center. We've been trying to figure out the center position for time. What he decided to do is hold on to Whitehair and let the younger player go, because the younger player would be signing a bigger contract. That was it. It was just a dollars situation. He said, "Oh, it's not a big deal. We're going to have Cody Whitehair play the center position. He'll be great. There will be no snap issues," although we all bloody well knew there would be, right? It was just a cost savings measure, and he let him go. This is one of those times where, like, he's a young rookie, bro. He's played guard. He's played center. Let the older guy go. I know it costs a little bit less, and it costs a little bit more to keep the younger guy. You keep the younger guy. And that's where we are.
I know this. You're talking about $20 to $22 million for one guard. When there's you can possibly land three interior guys. You can have the old man swing, talking about Kevin Zeitler at 34, and you can get James Daniels and Mekhi Becton. And that is really, really solid, versus that one particular guard and spending $20 to $22 million on him. I think what we need to fortify that offensive line, that one guy for that much money, to me is, I know I keep saying it and I sound like a broke ass record, but Lord, that's too much in my mind. I don't think we're at the position to be able to spend that much money for an interior guy. We just not. So you got too many other holes to fill.
I think it's crazy to think of it any other way. Basically, Mekhi Becton's his stock has gone up a little bit, so I'm looking at Spot Track right now. So it's Spot Track.
Why don't you just share your screen instead?
I can share it. I'll share it. All right. So this is his market value as we speak right now with Mekhi Becton. We're looking at 10.2. All right. We all saw him play this weekend. He basically shut down Chris Jones, and that's kind of what we need. Do we need to spend $22 million to get the same job done? I'm not so sure we do. We also have a bunch of guards who are still on the roster. So definitely, my thoughts is you get a guy like this at $10 million. He's your Nate Davis replacement, and you do the same thing with a James Daniels. I think James Daniels is a brilliant guy to bring in because he's taken snaps at center as well. So that will help bolster the center position too. James Daniels' market value, $8 million. Right? So for less than Trey Smith, right down the lines of where you're going, you can get two guards.
So why I was saying bringing in Kevin Zeitler into the conversation, this is with the understanding of knowing that James Daniels is coming off of a significant injury. And knowing that I believe he's going to get back to full strength, he's like 26 years old. You know, you got a veteran there that can hold it down while he finishes his rehab and any kind of setbacks he's having. You've got Kevin Zeitler there to make sure that you're fortified. So you got Becton, you got Zeitler, and you're going to make sure you get 100% healthy James Daniels. To me, that's like the offseason interior offensive line gold fucking plan to me. That's the best thing you could do. If you can come out of there with those three guys in that given situation, man, man, we own, dude. The interior, our offensive line is fortified.
Wait, isn't Zeitler like he's pushing 35?
Yeah.
Daniels is coming off of the Achilles.
Swing trips. He's going to be the swing.
Wait. So wait, hold on. I understand that. Hold on, Sugar Lips. So you got Daniels coming off an Achilles, and his placeholder is going to be the 35-year-old, right?
So this is where
it sounds different when you put it like that.
He was just in a Pro Bowl. Who was just a Pro Bowler last year.
So hold on. I don't think you need three guards. I'm being a complete realist here. I don't think you need three because we still have Ryan Bates who's taken up good cap and should be ready to play off of his pec injury. We've still got Bill Murray. We still got a bunch of guys at the guard position. Are they starting guards? I don't know. But if you get two starting guards, I think you're in a much better place than you were before, especially for less than the price tag of a one Trey Smith. Now, I would avoid the Kevin Zeitler thing and look at a tackle. I would get a tackle and those two guards. That's what I would be aiming at if I was Ryan Poles. Right? That's the way that I see. I understand the Zeitler want there, you know what I mean? Detroit, and the familiarity. But again, we're talking about a 35-year-old man he's basically commanding $10 million for more or less one season. I don't see him playing here for much longer than that, right? Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
What's Kevin Zeitler's ask? What is it saying here?
10 million. It's 10 million. Tell him 10 million.
He know he ain't getting no 10 million. He's talking. He's gonna get somewhere between 5 and 6.
No, he won't.
I guarantee you. I guarantee you, 34-year-old Kevin Zeitler, getting ready to be 35, ain't getting no more than 5 or 6 million.
No,
man. Hey, what's the breakdown on the offensive lineman whose signing became official this week?
Who we talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh, help us out, No Maniacs. What's the kid's name? He was on, the Cardinals? He was on the practice squad. He started a few games. And then
for us?
Yeah, Ryan Poles signed him.
You talking about McFadden?
Became official.
Yeah, McFadden, they signed him to basically for a contract. I think Jordan McFadden is his name.
Jordan.
Yeah, there you go. Now he's a guard, right?
He's a guard. I think can give you, he's flexible. He can play tackle. He was a lockdown offensive tackle at Clemson in the SEC, and that's the ACC, it's not the SEC, but he was locking shit down while he was in Clemson. I think that was a great, and I'm about as happy as I was when we grabbed Jonathan Ford off of that practice squad when this Jordan McFadden signing, because I think his foot quickness and his mirroring ability is elite. He's got short arms and he's not the tallest of the offensive linemen you can find out there, but damn it, if he ain't a dog, he's going to compete with whoever you bring in this building. And whether it's at a guard or at tackle, the dude can play, dude. That's one of those signings that happened this offseason that people aren't talking too much about, but I'm probably going to do a little video about that, man, because his capabilities are off the charts, man. I thought that when he came out.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet, like, not to poo-poo on the situation, but I don't want to bet the farm on stuff like this. You know what I mean?
Farm on it. I'm just telling you, I'm high on that guy.
Okay.
Because of what I'm telling you.
And the thing is, these guys who are no names or working themselves into league shape to be professionals. You know, it's so open right now, this offensive line for the Bears, that any one of these no names could be a starter. I mean, you know, so it's like you got to look at everybody. So it's not like we can say, well, we know we only need one position, so we can look at one free agent. We need 2 guards, center, possibly tackle, wide open. Who wants it? So, you know, looking at former practice squad players or waiver wire pickups, undrafted, it's wide open right now.
It's when you, I guess I come from, you know, me studying all that film. I'm qualified to be able to say some stuff, man, but I don't want to get fat headed about it and be too overconfident. That's a problem. You know what I mean? And I think what I see on film, man, dude, I'm telling you, Jordan McFadden, you watch enough of that film on that cat. I'm telling you, dude, you be as excited as I am about him, where he ends up being, you know, where his role ends up being here in Chicago with whoever they draft and whoever they bring in at free agency is anybody's guess. But you definitely just raised the level of competition in that room by bringing him in. I'm telling you that for a fact. The competition level is raised with him in the building.
I mean, now do you get a better feeling for McFadden over Alex Leatherwood?
You know what? Alex Leatherwood, it was a blue chipper. He was a blue chipper, and you know he had blue chip traits. You know, I think he was finding at home at guard. You know, we were watching games, and I'm watching this dude like, I don't know what, something happened inside that building. Something happened, but behind the scenes, I don't know what it was, but Alex Leatherwood fell off the radar, dude. I mean, that was a blue chip offensive lineman. He's got all the traits. He's like a Mekhi Becton type of guy. It's like he was one of those guys that went in as a tackle, came out as a tackle, and didn't do too well as a tackle, and guys started experimenting with him at guard. They didn't like what they were seeing in Oakland or the Raiders, and he ended up here. And I was hearing good stuff about Alex Leatherwood, and they were putting him out in games in the preseason, and he looked good. And all of a sudden, he wasn't here. And so, to me, that just tells me that there's something that we don't know about going on with Alex Leatherwood, and why everybody's just giving up on him. That's some shit going on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Well, he did. He was over his toes too much, way too much leaning. And it seemed to be an issue that he was aware of, but he kept doing the shit. And so it's like, look, dude, we know what the issue could be. You're not addressing the issue. Yeah, time's up. Got to go.
That damn sure could have been Mekhi Becton we're talking about right now. That could have been Mekhi Becton, but he landed on the squad with an offensive line coach that knew what the fuck he was doing, and now look at him. You know what I mean? So maybe it's just the coaching. You know what I mean? Like Leatherwood, I was a solid fucking piece. It's just maybe the coaching. I don't know. Something about the Flus and that O-line coach. I didn't like the shit. I didn't like it. And I'm glad both of them are gone, to be honest with you, man, because the shit just wasn't making sense to me. But again, we don't get to see everything that goes on in practice day in and day out and have them, you know, making these decisions that they're making. You know what I mean? We had this conversation on a couple of videos I just made about Zach Pickens and Tyler Scott. This stuff that goes on that we don't know about, you know, what they're looking at in practice, you know. So I feel good about Jordan McFadden as well as I felt about getting Alex Leatherwood. Everybody was happy about that move. It was just what happened when he got here, you know. And we got different guys in the building now, Tripp. So let's see what these guys do with the kid. They wouldn't have made that move for Jordan McFadden unless this O-line coach gave him basically the green light.
Well, they actually signed him before the coach even got hired.
No, I don't think so. I think they picked him up, but I don't think he was signed to a contract. I think they picked him up for a certain amount of time, but they signed him to a year contract since we got the O-line coach. something like that.
Well, okay, because I thought it was when they picked him up, that was basically signing him to the year contract, and then and as far as the timeline goes, they hired the offensive coach after the fact because they just hired the offensive coach, but they couldn't announce the signing and the deal until after the Super Bowl or some technical NFL rule or some shit.
I think they know what they're doing, man.
I think it might be a guy like this, like Poles or Cunningham or scouting is like, hey, we like this kid. He's available. Let's bring him in, and let's see what the new regime can do with him.
Hey, I'm like Paul Rodriguez. I'm not with the RAS score stuff, but I understand some of the metrics. He says McFadden's RAS score is high. He's a very athletic big man. That shows up right away. You want all you need to watch is like 2-3 minutes of his film, anything, whether it's highlights or whether it's whole game film, whatever you decide to look at, and that's gonna stick out right the fuck away as how athletic he is and how well he moves. He moves like a fullback or a tight end for an offensive lineman. That's how. I mean, he's just really, really athletic, and he's a leader. I mean, this is the kind of guys you want in your building, man. Let me see. Mayhem says we Bears need a strong left tackle because Braxton ain't good enough. It's not like Braxton's a bad player. I think we just reached our ceiling with Braxton. We know we need a level up. I think that's what it is. It's about leveling up, right, Kedz? You got to, if you want to compete with the best teams in the league, you got to level up and get to where they are. He could probably be a pretty good swing tackle and get you out of some games if you have some kind of injury or something like that, or maybe train him to as a swing guard and tackle, whatever. But as a starting left tackle, I don't think he has the qualification from the waist down to be that.
He's a 5th-round draft pick, man. You got to sort of look at the stock sometimes, and let's be real, he's completely overplayed his draft stock. He has, right? He definitely has. Unfortunately, we still need something a little bit better, and if we can put him into that swing position, I think we're doing great things, right? I think we're doing great things. I would spend, you got to spend another, $10 to $15 million to shore up that left tackle position. I would get all 3 of these guys that we've been sort of talking about here today. I'm not so sure that, that Jordan McFadden will turn into something. If he does, fantastic. That's just additional depth for us to have there. But yeah, I gotta see, like, scroll. Like, I'm just reading what the scrolls got up here, and I'm with you. We have to find out, and hopefully we're in a position where these new guys coming in here can actually develop the players on the line. He definitely needs another year of development without a shadow of a doubt. He got out there a little bit early this season, early by way of his own injury and late by way of his understanding of what was required of him. So, another year for him just to develop. If we can get him into the right position, fantastic. Then maybe we've got our linchpin left guard. But I would spend the money on a linchpin left guard for this season to protect Caleb.
Hey, Kedz, pull up the free agents, because when Chef Trips is on with you all, there was a starting left tackle that was available and wasn't like mad expensive.
He's talking about Larry Jackson or Cam Robinson, one of them.
So yeah. Cam Robinson, let's look at the tip. No, he's looking at
Ronnie Stanley, one of those 3.
He's looking at $20 million. So let's just do that. 14 million. Real talk. I just said 15. You know what I mean? Like I would that's money I would spend.
What's the other guy that's not 29? He's younger, isn't he?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys that are of interest here. One of them is definitely Alaric Jackson. He's been protecting good old Matt Stafford out there in Los Angeles for a minute. He's only 26 years old, and his market value is a fair amount. Oh, I thought it was lower. It's a little bit higher. It's 16 million he's looking for, but even then, at 26 years old, he's going to be around for a little while.
Now, so what does it? Can we look at pressures given up or like sacks given up, or do you get those kind of stats on there?
Let me see
if he could be signed and now this is your starting left tackle, would this be an upgrade over Braxton Jones?
Either one of these guys are an upgrade. Larry Jackson, Ronnie Stanley, or who was the other guy? Cam Robinson are an upgrade over Braxton Jones.
Braxton Jones. Let's just take a quick peek at Braxton Jones here for a minute. Oh, did not work for him.
I feel sorry for Braxton Jones because everybody knows all they got to do is bull rush him, man. He knows that's coming every third down. Every third down, he knows he knows what he's got to deal with, and he just can't. He doesn't have the body strength below the waist to be able to deal with it. I feel sorry for him. He's got it all. The rest of the shit he has: technical ability, run blocking, pass pro is sound. He just can't anchor because he's just not fit beneath the waist. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be talking about left tackle because Braxton Jones would be our guy.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have it.
Yeah. Simple as that.
That's the worry about the current rehab from the injury is, he's got pins and such in his ankle.
That ain't helping.
How much are you strengthening your lower body?
Oh, I forgot.
As opposed to rehabbing.
Yeah, I forgot about that injury situation with him too.
He knows
all the more reason to shore up that left tackle position.
Braxton knows as a starter, he's a dead man walking on this team.
And that's fine. Like I'm gonna be real and say that like Braxton Jones has shown the world enough that he's gonna be a long time tackle in the NFL. There's no two ways about that. He's put up some really quality snaps, but at the same time, the team still needs an upgrade.
Does that say undrafted?
No,
he was undrafted.
This guy here, Larry Jackson.
Yeah.
It just goes to show people. I say this all the time. Never. Just don't worry about where these people are projecting these players to be drafted or whether or not they're going to be drafted at all. It all comes down to the traits in that particular player, and do you have the coaching in that building to get him to level up to where you think he can be. Whatever the projection is from that kid is how can you get the best out of him? And so I say this to people all the time. Like, people just totally ignore the after the draft, man. It's 230 something, 40, 50 people that get drafted. Everybody else is a UDFA. It's like those guys don't count. Like, it's some dogs out there that ain't gonna get drafted. Look at this, man. You talking about a guy that didn't get drafted is getting ready to make what was that, like 16 million for Larry Jackson? That's crazy. But that just goes to show you, if you know what the fuck you're doing and you know how to draft and you got good coaches inside your building, doesn't matter where that kid comes from and what you project that guy. If you can get the best out of him, does he have the traits? That's the bottom line. If he has the traits, can you get the best out of him? And look at what it turned out to be. A Larry Jackson, you're ready to get paid. Could be here in Chicago. Who knows?
Well, that would take coaches who can actually develop, and that's really what you're talking about here, right? Somebody brought that out of Larry Jackson. It wasn't expected, and you got to give a big thumbs up to whoever's the offensive line coach in for the Los Angeles Chargers, right? Or sorry, for the Rams. Was it Chargers or Rams?
All right. Well, you can pull that down for a minute because I got another conversation for you guys.
Oh,
this is just stuff that's out there in the ether. And I'm gonna start with one guy. There's noise out there there's no noise. There's facts of the matter that the Rams gave Cooper Kupp, a chance to go see if he can find a trade partner. And right away, the Bears fans attached onto that and said, you know what, let Keenan Allen go and grab Cooper Kupp. What do you guys think about that? Before you answer it, just give us some thought about what you think about Cooper Kupp at his age, injury history lately, and versus Keenan Allen. If whatever you thought about either one of those two guys, give me your thoughts on that situation with Cooper Kupp.
Go ahead, Trip.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. Look,
let me expand on that a little bit.
He don't like old motherfuckers, man.
Exactly. I mean, at his age and his unreliability, because of his unavailability, he's gonna, require a pretty penny, I'm sure. What benefit is he doing? What benefit is he bringing to the team? So, yeah, no.
Okay.
He's not a racist. He's an ageist.
So, look, Cooper Kupp is about a solid year younger than Keenan Allen. They will cost exactly the same amount of money. So those are two things to really consider. I think we've all been saying, like Keenan Allen, he's going to cost a decent amount of cash, and he's a little bit up in age. So's Cooper Kupp. Do I think Cooper Kupp could fit the bill and really be a great replacement for Keenan Allen? I do, right? I gotta say that. I think it'd be a fantastic replacement. I'm not sure if you want to pay that kind of money for an older wide receiver. And that's really where my mindset is. I think there's bigger issues on the team that really and truly need to be addressed. More importantly, selfishly, I want to force Caleb to throw to DJ Moore and Rome Odunze. Selfishly, I don't really care about. I care less about wide receiver 3. I want wide receiver 1 to be targeted, and I want wide receiver 2 to be targeted, and I want wide receiver 3 to be interchangeable. Tyler Scott, Colin Johnson, pick up a couple of low wallet share guys who can provide different things, blocking potentially if you need it, and or get a Mac Hollins, get a Tutu Atwell. That's what I'm talking about. Interchange, switch those guys up.
Good vibes to Nick Rimbert and his son. He says Nick Rimbert says, I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. Had to come out in the snow in this crazy snowstorm. Take my son to ER, man. Good energy, good vibes to you and his son, bro.
Hope he's all right there, Nick, man. Hope everything's good.
Yeah, right on.
Man, he's been vomiting.
Yeah. Yeah, so okay. Those are, you want to hear my thoughts on Cooper Kupp?
Go for it.
I think Cooper Kupp and Matt Stafford, and I think his quarterback play, next level quarterback play that Matt Stafford is. Matt Stafford is, like, I would say the best quarterbacking I seen the entire year were probably 2 quarterbacks, and this might surprise you. I think Matt Stafford is right there at the top, very, very top. And I think, be honest with you, Jaden Daniels was after that. Those are the best 2 quarterbacks I've seen all damn year. And, there's some good stellar quarterback play all over the league at times, but consistently it was probably those 2 guys and probably, Sam Darnold, to be honest with you. Up until the very end, those dudes play some hell up quarterbacking. And I think Cooper Kupp, in a lot of ways, owes a lot to Matt Stafford. And really, I mean, without Matt Stafford, I don't know how well we would ever know who Cooper Kupp is. I would just start the conversation that way. I don't know that Cooper Kupp is as good as we think he is, and Matt Stafford is just an elite quarterback.
I disagree with that. I think Cooper Kupp is as good as he is.
Explain, though. If you're going to disagree with it, explain.
I will. So I think that Cooper Kupp is a fantastic. He's very similar, in play style, very similar to Keenan Allen, right? Very smooth route runner, not extremely fast. He'll get you a 50-50 ball most of the time. The real downside for Cooper Kupp over the course of the last few seasons has strictly been injury and nothing less. Right, so I can't take anything away from the guy.
Yes, I'm not trying to take anything away from him. What I'm telling you is a lot of really good, smooth route runners. Like, who else was? He was just here in Chicago, really smooth route runner. But he's not on the field anywhere no more. Now it's Allen Robinson.
That's actually another really good.
That's a good comparison.
It's actually a really good comp. There, to me, all 3 of these guys are almost the same, and I'm wondering how old A-Rob is right now. Not that we should look at him in any capacity, except for maybe the fact that he'll be dirty cheap. I'm sure there's no way he's coming back to Chicago now.
I'm just putting it out there. It's like
same age.
I don't. There's a lot of really good smooth route runners that's come and gone in the league, and nobody knows who the fuck they are. With the really elite quarterback, we were able to find out who Cooper Kupp is, and part of that is due to Matt Stafford. And I'm not taking anything away from Cooper Kupp.
That's a really good.
Know really who Cooper Kupp is without Matt Stafford. You thinking about Allen Robinson is a good comparison, ain't it?
No, all three of those guys actually are very, very similar in style and skill set. Allen Robinson, unfortunately, really has never played with a decent quarterback. I'm trying to think if he's ever has. You know what I mean? Like he just he's had the worst roster of quarterbacks, I think, ever. Of like all time, like you know what I mean? Blake Bortles, Mitch Trubisky again. Like just a terrible situation for Allen Robinson. So it's unfortunate. The upside is to like a team who might want a low wallet share guy who can run routes really well and get that 50-50 ball. He's still out there, and again, he's the exact same age. He's 31 years old. Like all three of them are interchangeable.
If we had to get a free agent wide receiver, I would go with the hippie guy.
The hippie guy?
I know you're talking about Mac Hollins.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Mac Hollins, the guy who don't wear shoes.
That's a dog. Yeah. That motherfucker's a dog. People don't know, man. That motherfucker's a dog.
Well, I think he should be one of them. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's big money. I don't think people are going to pay big money for Mac Hollins. But again, if you want a blocker along the side who can also stretch the field, Mac Hollins. Right?
How much would he cost?
I'll give you an idea.
It'll probably cost you about $3-4 million.
Yeah, that's all.
Something like that.
Mac Hollins is
I
not.
have no idea, but that's probably somewhere in the ballpark.
He's not $2.4 million calculated market value. He's not going to command.
And how old is he?
He probably earned himself about $1 million, kids. When you say about a 1.5, maybe the season he had this year, and some.
Sure. Right, you know what I mean? Pay him a little bit more, considering what he did. He's getting a little bit up in age, though. He's 30. He's 31, so he's not going to be around for a very long time. But again, as a specific, and this is what I'm saying, specific role, like I would definitely bring Mac Hollins on here, and instead, man, these guys, instead of like trying to make Darnell Mooney your blocking wide receiver in WR3, you get a guy like Mac Hollins who's actually built like that and can do that. You can get him on the low. Don't pay $80 million for him. Get him for $3 million. There he is. He's out there.
So you kids love kicking people in the ding-a-ling, man. But we're not gonna do that to Mac Hollins.
Who am I kicking a ding-a-ling?
He tried to get him for $3 million, man.
So like I gave him
$3.5-4 million.
Bro, I gave him $5 million more than his calculated market value on Spot Track. So if Spot Track kicked him in the ding-a-ling, I'm kicking him in like the I don't know, the upper thigh. You know what I'm saying?
In the groin, huh?
You know what I mean? Like maybe I don't know. I gave him a little bit more. I said,
all right. Let's check this out then. Well, since we're on the conversation of receivers, Deebo Samuel was given permission to seek a trade, and about 2 years ago, man, people would have gave up a body part to get Deebo Samuel on this team. What do you guys think about now? Given everything that you've seen transpired thus far, sometimes you might want to parse your statements and think a little bit before you respond. But Deebo Samuels, what do you guys think about that?
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
Why though? Come on, I'm good.
Well, he's gonna be expensive. He's gonna have to have trade compensation. And he's been kind of getting dinged up quite a bit recently.
Like everybody on that team was hurt. I think Deebo might have been the one guy who wasn't. I feel like he wasn't hurt. Anyways, like my reasoning is because DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, like both of those guys can do that stuff. We've seen them both do it. So I don't think you need to go shelling out big money, maybe lose out on draft capital for Deebo Samuel. You just make DJ do some jet sweeps. You know what I mean? You get creative with DJ and you get creative with Rome. I don't think you need that.
Here's what I think about Deebo Samuels. This is my honest opinion. And this is my, I check them out before I get to running my mouth about people. And, Deebo Samuel's got plenty of film out there. And Deebo Samuels is, he's not a receiver. Let's just say that. He cannot get separation. He cannot, he's not a route runner whatsoever. He doesn't have great hands either. He's got solid hands. He doesn't have great hands. But Deebo Samuels is a running back running away from the position. And, he's a little bit overweight. And matter of fact, a lot of people would say that's a lot of bit overweight, but I'm not sure. I'm not so certain that, some of the coaching staff or Shanahan might have been like, I'll keep yourself at this weight because we're going to use you on a lot of jet sweeps. We're going to put you in the backfield and let you run the ball because obviously he's not an elite receiver. He's not. But what is Deebo Samuels and what can you get out of him? I think he's pretty much run his course in San Francisco, number one. Number two, I think what you can get out of Deebo Samuels may not be what Deebo Samuels thinks he is. You know what I mean? So Deebo Samuels might literally see himself as an elite receiver in the league. He's got name power. And so people hear Deebo Samuels, yeah, let's get him. But what are you going to do with Deebo Samuels once you get him? You know what I mean? So could he have a role here? I think Deebo Samuels' biggest problem this offseason is going to be where people value him at. He's going to get lowball all over the place, and it's going to hurt his pride. You know what I mean? It's going to really hurt his pride, and he could end up back in San Fran for cheap money because he's injured way too often, and he's not an elite receiver by elite receiver standards. He's really a running back, a glorified running back that plays and gets slot screens for the most part. That's it, and jet sweeps.
We don't need no more of that. I'm just saying. We seen a whole lot of that. If we're gonna do it, I say Mac Hollins just for the blocking capability alone. You know what I mean? He'll get in there, he'll get dirty with it. And like I'm saying, both the kids we have right now, both DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, they can do what we're talking about. They can do that Deebo stuff, and they can run routes and catch the ball too. They're actually wide receivers. I wouldn't do this. You know what I mean? Not me. Jacksonville go and pay him. Minister Charles Johnson.
You know what I think is gonna happen, Trips and Kids?
What?
I think he's got Pittsburgh Steelers written all over him. Because I think what Deebo Samuels is. No. Listen. Hear me out. I think he's exactly what they wanted Cordell Patterson to be. And Cordell Patterson was probably a little bit over the hill by the time they got him, and the best of Cordell Patterson is long gone. I think you're right there at the best of Deebo Samuels in that Cordell Patterson role right now. So he's got Pittsburgh Steelers written all over him, Baltimore Ravens written all over him, that physical offense that wants to give.
Well, that's different.
I'm telling you, to me, he's going to end up being a Steeler, and he's going to have, a second win to his career. But they're not going to pay him what he thinks he's worth.
I think you nailed it the second time around with Baltimore. I think Baltimore's
Anquan Bolden, and you're thinking about, ain't you?
No, well, see, that's really a really good comp, but I just think he'd be a solid complement to what they're trying to do over there. Pittsburgh just. The reason I say no, Pittsburgh, is just because they have historically had no problem developing wide receivers. So I wouldn't go, if I was Tomlin and the crew, I wouldn't go spending cash on a wide receiver. They've got other holes they need to fill, to be frank there, man. It's especially trying to figure out who the quarterback is really going to be at the end of the day. So there's that one too. But yeah, you know what I mean? So if I was those guys, I would stick with the wide receivers they have. They can train them up. They can definitely develop them, and maybe you draft one or two in the draft and keep doing the darn thing. Straight up, man. Like, they're just a wide receiver factory in Pittsburgh.
Any thoughts on that, Trish? Before I switch, I'm telling you, Pittsburgh, the tough style is what Mike Tomlin likes. He likes got receivers, tough guys, you know what I mean, that can really run through the smoke. And Deebo fits that. He fits that shit.
I mean, he fits, but it would be interesting to see, what kind of compensation San Fran wants for him, and would Pittsburgh be willing to pay it?
I think with Justin Fields, it looks like Justin Fields, they could, draft the quarterback later, but it looks like Justin Fields, they're gonna hand him the keys down there. And I've been studying their shit, and it looks like they're gonna hand Justin Fields the keys. And in order to really simulate something that I think is Pittsburgh-like, I think Deebo is a good fit there. Really, I do. I really, really do, man. And so, just keep an eye on that situation. I think we got some potential fireworks going on, and he might not be the only piece they go try to sign. They could go after, I don't know if they're gonna get Devontae Adams, but they can go after an Ayuk now. You know what I mean, in a trade or something like that. That could happen.
So he's got a $30 million dead cap hit. Deebo Samuel, and that's on the low. You know what I mean? So whoever's taking on that contract, likely San Francisco will eat it, but somebody's got to throw compensation at San Francisco for eating that contract, right? So I would expect it's got to be a first round pick right there for Deebo Samuel. At 30 mil, pretty nuts.
All right, let's get to another conversation. This is probably the hottest conversation in the Bears ecosystem. And that is this right here. And the only person missing from this conversation that, it wasn't until I was done doing this graphic that I was like, God damn it, I didn't put Max Crosby in here. And so, all right, in reality, I'm just going to kick this conversation off this way. In reality, after seeing what I saw in the Super Bowl, and it'd be a premium on the reason why Philadelphia won that Super Bowl was the ability to be able to get a pass rush and get Patrick Mahomes. And so the same mentality is going to exist going into this next year. Who can get after Jalen Hurts? Who can get after him? And if you got a team that you think is on the precipice of doing something great, there's 3 guys on this list right now that I don't think is going anywhere. There's no way I see them letting Trey Hendrickson out of that building. I think T. Higgins is going to hit the market in Cincinnati. And I think they'll, run with Andre Isiovas or whatever his name is, or maybe draft another tight end. Minister Charles figured out a way to become a member. My dog, Minister Charles, thank you, man, for figuring it out, man. Thank you, Mr. Charles. Appreciate you for jumping in there again. But listen, I believe that I think Cincinnati thinks that let's just start with one player at a time. Let's just talk about Trey Hendrickson. I think that they feel like they're a couple of pieces away from competing for a championship. So why would you let the very player that can really disrupt the other team get out of your building with Trey Hendrickson? Think about it that way. Do you think Trey Hendrickson gets out of Cincinnati, Kedz, or trips?
Yes. I don't see him sticking around Cincinnati simply because they ain't enough money to pay everybody over there, right? This is a former Super Bowl.
So wait a minute, they're gonna have to keep Hendrickson, or they're gonna have to let somebody go. And I don't think T. Higgins gets out of there.
T. Higgins is the one who's already been.
I don't think he stays. I meant
T. Higgins already been paid though, so they signed T. Higgins last.
He got paid.
He been paid. He got paid last year.
You tripping?
I'm not tripping.
You tripping?
T. Higgins been. No, I'm not.
Wait with a franchise tag or something.
No, man. I will verify that. But T. Higgins been paid. I will verify it. Oops. It helps if I spell his name right. But he's been paid. Now, the guy who hasn't been paid, Joey B's been paid. The guy who hasn't been paid is Chase. So you can't they just cannot separate that situation.
Something's wrong with what you're looking at. I'm telling you, T. Higgins is due for a big contract, and I don't think it's going to be in Cincinnati. I think they're trying to figure out. They got their best players is the quarterback and Chase, and they got 2 more players that they got to sign to be.
Oh, you're right.
One more of those guys are going to get a big contract, and I'm guarantee you it ain't going to be the second receiver. So I think it's going to be T. Higgins that's going to see T. Higgins is acting like he's played his last game in Cincinnati on social media.
Okay, no, you're right. He did not get re-signed. He was signed to they franchise tagged him last season. All right. So with that being the case, he got big money last season. They're in a pickle, bro. So it's either I don't know how they pay everybody. I don't know how you do it.
How much does he require to get paid?
Well, if he was franchise tagged, that means his
he could be in Pittsburgh next year.
Yep. Now, is he a free agent or do we have to trade for him?
Depends what they want to do, right? So 20 calculated market value, $25 million. Boom. T. Higgins, yo. Right? That's because they franchise tagged him last season. They're I don't know. I don't know how they could possibly. Oh man, Cincinnati's in trouble, y'all.
I was talking about Hendrickson, not Higgins.
They're going to have to make a choice. They're going to have to sign the second receiver, or they're going to have to sign the edge rusher. And I think that the premium, after what I just got through seeing, is going to be on the edge rusher. They're going to pay Trey Hendrickson, and Trey Hendrickson ain't going nowhere. And they're going to let T. Higgins walk. T. Higgins it appears that he had conversation with the brass, and he knows he's not going to be back there. He's just playing the political game that every fucking NFL player has to play, and he ain't saying shit. But he's acting like he's not going to be in Cincinnati next year.
Because of the franchise tag, right? So if they franchise tagged him and did not...
They did it twice, I think, didn't they?
Say what?
I think they did it twice by now.
I don't think this is the second one. I think this is the first one just because of what I'm looking at here, what I saw. Looks like it's the first one. The fact is they went through the year and they did not sign him to a long-term deal. So that's why he would be like, I know everybody else is looking for a deal, as in Jamar and Trey. Trey's projected at $30 million, basically.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
Micah Parsons gonna cost you 40. It's a 40 ball.
No way. You're
he's gonna cost a 40 ball. It's a $40 million man.
Jamar Chase is 33. So I don't know how you pay all these people. Right? I don't know how Cincinnati can pay all these guys here.
One of them's coming up out of there. I think it's T.
I wish I could say
he's gonna go somewhere and get one number one receiver money. That's what he's gonna do.
I agree with you. I think that's exactly what happens here. So Joe Burrow's been starting. He's making like all kinds of money, so that's not an issue. It's really these other 3 guys in question. I don't know how they keep all 3 of them. Take it easy, Crimson, man. Mad love, brother. Respect.
What happened to where you going, Crimson?
Says it's off to sleep.
Shout out, Crimson.
Yeah, man. But like, yeah, these guys we're talking about here, that's big. That's big money. Right? We're talking about 2 $30 million men and a $25 million man. Somebody got to go. So you're probably right. I think T. Higgins is probably the odd man out, which means again, you're looking at a situation like we're going to talk about all these guys, and I'm going to pose a little
one at a time. Because
I'm just prefacing that I'm going to pose a little counter argument when we get a little bit further down here, but. In any event, I think you're right. I think T. Higgins will be the odd man out. I think he's a WR1 for some wide receiver hungry team, and it's unfortunate because basically he's a free agent. I don't think they get anything for him now.
Since you got the machine in front of you, I think let's go to Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is, I believe, 30 years old. Somewhere in that neighborhood, and right there at the peak of his prime, right there. He's right there at the tippy top. And so here's my thoughts when I think about Myles Garrett. Of course, I would love to see him in Chicago. Is Chicago attractive to him in a trade? I'm thinking if he is available for a trade, which I think see, I think Cleveland will do everything they can to try to make sure that cat never leaves Cleveland. I think that GM will do anything he can to make sure he doesn't leave Cleveland. In the event that doesn't work, and you give you give him the opportunity to seek a trade partner or turn down or accept a trade, I don't think Chicago is one of those places. You know where I think he is likely to end up? I think he'll end up in fucking Kansas City.
Oh.
Because that's the one thing I noticed about their game is they could not affect the quarterback.
Yeah.
They couldn't really affect the quarterback on the defensive side of the ball. It looks like, they were getting a little bit of push from the inside, but coming off the edge, they wasn't getting a whole lot. Karlaftis was decent, but to get a game changer to beat a team like they just faced, you're going to need a game changer to beat them with. And I think because it's all the signs, all you got to do is look at the tea leaves. Writing on the wall says he's looking to go to a championship contender to finish out his career. And that is the most likely. I think Kansas City has the infrastructure to make and facilitate something like that to happen. And so he would likely be a 35 to 38, $40 million guy. But I think Kansas City can get him at 32 or somewhere around 30 because it's Kansas City. And you're the piece we need to get over the top. And so as much as I would love to see him in Chicago, the most likely place that I see him if he leaves Cleveland is Kansas City.
So I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that. I'll give you a couple of reasons. First one is Kansas City's going to have a hard – they put a lot of money into Patrick Mahomes. As well as a lot of money into
on that thing right now. They'll find a way to get that money.
I don't know. The idea of retaining a quality piece of protection in Trey Smith at $22 million is a problem. It might be a problem for them. They may want to retain that guy. They've also spent big money on Chris Jones, who's supposed to be their Myles Garrett, right? So I'm not sure if they can afford another Myles Garrett given the cap situation over there. I'd have to look a little bit more close at it. Now, the place I think he winds up is the one place I thought you were going to say, and it's the one place we don't want him to wind up at all. You're damn straight.
He's not going to be second fiddle to no damn Hutchinson.
Second fiddle?
That's what he would be there. He would be second fiddle.
Bro, nobody's second fiddle when you're paying $30 million. You don't pay $30 million for second fiddle. You know what I mean? That's like going to buy a prime rib and just eating a burger instead.
You got to remember, Detroit just lost everything but Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
That's not very attractive to a free agent when you don't really know exactly what you're walking into. From the
you're walking into a team that just went,
and I'm a free agent, and I'm looking at Detroit, and I'm just like, that was attractive about a year ago, but they just got busted the fuck up. As far as the coaching staff is concerned, right?
I'm just saying
stability there. We don't know if there's stability there until you see stability.
Maybe he's
talking about Garrett.
Yeah,
he wouldn't be not better, but a fit in with the commies, and they got plenty of cap money to be able to afford.
There's another place.
Yeah, Washington is definitely a good spot. Yeah, all of a sudden, man. I mean, Detroit just got busted the fuck up, man. They just got busted clean the fuck up. And I think people should acknowledge that. And I know people are saying, they got a strong team. They got Dan Campbell. They got this. They got that. But, dude, when the infrastructure of that team has been busted the fuck out. No Aaron Glenn, no Ben Johnson. Nobody knows. I'm telling you, as a player, I'd be looking at it from that perspective. I don't know what the fuck they're going to be doing there.
Paul Rodriguez nailed it, right? So those are the two places I think he might wind up. They're gonna want to get him out of the conference so they don't have to see him on a regular basis. All of those things kind of smell like Detroit and Washington if he does actually get traded. So hate to say that. The other upside for both Detroit and Washington is that they'll probably have no problems flipping them a late first round pick for a guy of this caliber, right? They both went to the NFC Championship game. They've got late first round picks. Sure, take that. Now Cleveland got two. You can wheel and deal and do something with the two picks. It just makes perfect sense to me.
All right, well let's get to the next guy, and that is And let me tee this conversation up about Micah Parsons. You know, I told people this for the longest time. I had two teams all my life. It was the Bears, and then my second boo was the Cowboys for years. You know, just because of my favorite uncle, who was like my brother. Man, he every team that he liked, I liked. That was just like that my entire childhood. But I got to a point where I saw Jerry Jones for who Jerry Jones is. And it started to get a little bit, you know, it got to a point where it was just like, this motherfucker he's wearing my ass out with this bullshit. You know what I mean? And so what I know about Jerry Jones throughout history is I know that primetime players he's absolutely reluctant to let go of under any circumstances. Throughout history, throughout Jerry Jones's tenure, a player in their primetime player that he's ever let go of. And I think, and that's because he was jealous of the guy, because this guy became more popular than Jerry Jones, and that was T.O. He let T.O. go in his prime. In his prime. And that's the only one throughout history that you can say that Jerry Jones let this cat go in his prime. And that's because T.O. became bigger than Jerry Jones. Nobody, he left no oxygen for Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones needs what? Oxygen. And so this is my point about Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons is rapidly approaching that territory. But I think Jerry Jones thinks in his head that the Cowboys are a player or two away from taking that Lombardi. And so this is why I don't think Micah Parsons is going anywhere. He thinks Micah Parsons is the key to making that happen. And so he's going to pay that guy. Reluctantly, he's going to pay that guy. But I think there's a part of Jerry Jones that wants that motherfucker out of there because he got a podcast and he talks, and that irritates Jerry Jones. And the talk of the Cowboys ecosphere is Micah Parsons and what he says. And so you got the comparison of T.O. in his prime, and you got Micah in his prime, who sucked the oxygen out of the room. T.O., yes. Micah is starting to do the same thing, but Jerry Jones is at a point where he thinks that they're right there to win a championship. And I don't think Micah Parsons is going no fucking way. He's a $40 million man, and it's going to happen in Dallas.
Okay. So there's parts of this that I can agree with, and there's parts that I don't know how they're going to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm actually looking at their cap right now. They are $2 million in the red, the Dallas Cowboys, presently, with a $9 million dead cap situation. The man is going to cost upwards of $30 million. You're saying 40, somewhere in and around there.
It's going to be a 40 ball, dog.
Well, I can't argue with that. The spot track is saying 30, whatever it is. They're going to have to fire everybody. Everybody got to go. You know what I mean? Like, so they've got Dak Prescott in a big contract, CeeDee Lamb in a big contract. Yeah, I don't. Oh, wait a minute. This is including his 20.
You still trying to debate whether or not Michael gonna get that 40 ball? You crazy?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not. I said it's going to be somewhere between 30 and 40. I'm not going to debate that at all. If he gets $40 million, he gets $40 million. I'm sure somebody would love to pay him that. I'm just not so sure Jerry Jones would love to pay him that, because right now
Micah do need to learn to shut the fuck up though, because I heard a couple of podcasts when he's talking about, you know, he might be willing to take a pay cut, you know, to get Myles Garrett there. And like, man, this is your first crack at the goddamn bag. And this is the biggest crack you're going to get at the bag. Get every fucking dime you can get. Stop running your mouth about what you would take a pay cut about. Get that fucking 40 ball.
Wow.
You need to shut the fuck up about that.
I can't argue with that. Like, again, maybe. So right now his cap hit is 24. It's not ridiculous to go up 5 to 15, but they would have to get rid of DeMarcus Lawrence. They would have to get rid of at least 4 other players to make that make some kind of sense. So it's what I am going to say is that Jerry Jones is famous for doing this though. He's famous for stretching out that contract situation and then just caving and signing the guy at the end. I kind of thought that was what was going to happen with Mike McCarthy as well, and they actually decided to cut bait and change up. And I think they screwed that completely up, by the way. Just me talking out loud. So I'm going to say that I do expect the Dallas Cowboys to, in some capacity, retain Micah Parsons. I just don't know how they're going to do it.
They'll do it. Micah Parsons. And I'm telling you, Dallas and Jerry Jones really think that they're a player or two away from winning the championship. After everything they saw, we saw, the whole world saw, in Jerry Jones's mind, it's like you can't tell that old man that I think he's at a state in life where everybody's trying to tell the old man what he wants to hear, right? He's at that stage in life where you don't want to give him the bad news. You don't want to lay the heavy shit on him, that we ain't a good team. We badly coach, and we don't have enough pieces. And you don't want to lay the heavy shit on the old man. And so you tell him what he wants to hear. He's in his winter years, and he wants to believe that they got a championship-level roster, and he's going to pay Micah Parsons.
So I actually just found the Micah Parsons money. So there's that. Trayvon Diggs, goodbye. DeMarcus Lawrence, goodbye. Brandon Cooks, goodbye. You're pretty
can you hold it down for 1 second while I pop out?
Absolutely. So that's my 2 cents on Micah, although I would love to see him here, but there's a major exception and reason why I wouldn't love to see him here. What are your thoughts there, Trips? Any thoughts on Micah Parsons potentially? Hey, man. Trips, you with me? I guess it's just me. Anyhow, so that's my 2 cents there as far as Micah is concerned. I know next up, Nomad's got Chase Young. We're going to eventually take a quick peek at Mr. Young, but, is what it is. Anything, Triple R?
Yeah, I'm not trying to give up draft capital and then have to pay the dude $40 million.
Thanks.
No, that's not a good utilization of your resources.
Thank you for saying exactly that, because that was what I was gonna I'm willing to go through this exercise here. You know what I mean? But at the end of the exercise, that's the moral of the story. Do you want to throw away a first and a second or 2 firsts plus pay $30 million for a guy? To me, that's insanity. And since he's gone, let's just talk about another team for a minute. And that other team is the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans did something interesting a couple of seasons ago when they drafted C.J. Stroud. They traded up, got them. Sorry, did they trade up? No, they retained their pick. They got themselves some C.J. Stroud love. And then they traded back into the draft, into the first round, and selected themselves an edge rusher, right?
Wait a minute.
Yo.
Scrolls is a piece of work.
Jerry looking for ice cream in the cabinet while simultaneously making personnel decision. It does sound like what he's doing, man. Surrounded by women at the same time.
Hey, that is funny, man. I just got through dealing with somebody with dementia.
But he gave up Tremaine in this year and 2 second rounders. Not bad, Nick. Not bad. I'm just saying it's all of that is crazy. But if you look at what the Texans did, they were able to score themselves a high caliber edge rusher, right? So that's my thoughts in all of this. Is it smarter to trade up in the draft and get yourself a high caliber edge rusher, as opposed to betting and paying him rookie money, as opposed to paying big redonkulous money on one of these guys here?
All right, hold on. So, I don't know where we ended up. All I seen was Rose comment when I got back. That was fucking hilarious. And, you might have to. And this is a funny story. And I know I know my girlfriend wouldn't mind telling. It's literally like a commercial, man. My girlfriend's mom was. She was sneaking stuff out of the refrigerator, getting leftovers and going outside and feeding what she thought was a cat. It was a fucking raccoon. And that's real talk. That's real talk. And he was talking about how Jerry is looking in the goddamn cupboard or cabinet for some ice cream. That's real talk, man. It gets like that. But that's fucking hilarious. And me and her laugh about this kind of shit all the time. So where are we, man? We were just talking about Micah, talked about Trey Hendrickson. We talked about Big Boy down at the bottom. We didn't talk about Max Crosby, which I think out of the bunch, besides Chase Young, and I don't know why people are, poo-pooing Chase Young. I don't get that. But Max Crosby is the most likely of the three, and I'm kind of pissed off that I didn't get him on this. I wasn't thinking right and then put him on this graphic. But I think Max Crosby is the most likely of the bunch of the star pass rushers. And why? Because they're pretty much starting anew with the Raiders, and they can't afford. He's a luxury piece like Khalil Mack was when we had to let him go. He was a luxury piece for a struggling team that needed capital. That's what he is in with the Raiders. Max Crosby is the most likely of these guys, I think. Be honest with you.
So just think about what you just said. Who are they paying in Vegas?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's about what they can get. He has let it be known that he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild, and you have to consider that.
Okay. That is different. That is a different piece. I wasn't sure if he'd come out and said something to that effect. I definitely know that Myles Garrett has come out and said something to that effect more recently. Fact is, they've got $95 million in cap space today. They're paying I couldn't name you a player that they're paying money to. Gardner Minshew. He probably won't last the offseason. You know what I mean? Like, he probably won't. So, like, they can afford to pay this guy if he wants to continue being a Raider. So.
I know they have the money to pay him. And if he wants to be a Raider, I think the door is open. But I think he's made it pretty clear, based on the information I know about, that he doesn't want to be part of no rebuild. I think Pete Carroll came in there and rejuvenated him with this press conference. I can see that live and happening. But I don't think, I think it's a toss-up as to what he would actually do. But I think it leans more towards, I need to go somewhere and play for a contender while I can still be at a dominant piece at my position and get this money. I think that's where he's at.
Look, I can't argue with that, but we're gonna have the conversation with you now. Actually, okay, let's just cut to Chase Young, because I think this Max Crosby situation is
you don't believe it.
No, well, look, they have 95. They're not paying anybody. There's nobody being paid on the team at all. So it really has to be a situation where Max Crosby comes out again and he's like, look, I'm done in Vegas. I need to go. So send me somewhere. And maybe somebody will pay the money. That's somebody, in my opinion. I hope it's not the Chicago Bears for the reasons I'm about to get to. They're short.
Okay, what's your reason for not wanting?
No. We got to do Chase Young first.
We didn't give Trips a chance to speak on.
Me and Trips are line of sight already. You missed it
on Crosby. He didn't say shit about Crosby.
Thoughts, Trip?
Yeah, Crosby. He's expensive. He's older, and it will cost draft capital to get him. I'm good.
He's not that old. He's 27. I'll give him a bit of love on the age tip, but yes, and yes on all the other stuff.
I think Max Crosby is probably, outside of Chase Young, is the best option here. I think everything else on this board will cost you. It's not that any of these guys ain't worth way too much. When you talk about way too much, we're talking about a couple of firsts, maybe a second, somewhere in the neighborhood of something like that. You're talking about some good draft capital you're gonna have to give up. But again, they're just draft picks. They're just projections until they become something in the NFL. And in order to get one of these guys that can really change the game, I think you got to be willing to not look at that capital as, okay, we just missed out and we just gave away all this. No, you just gave away a bunch of potential. When you got surefire fucking dogs here on this board that you can go and get. I know one thing. They better come out of this motherfucking free agency with somebody, one of these motherfuckers. I know that. They better come out of this motherfucker with one of them.
Well, free agency, the only free agent would be Chase Young.
You got it.
The free agent, I mean, that to me.
Or Josh Sweat.
It's not like the worst thing.
Josh Sweat. I'm looking at his numbers.
About Josh Sweat, and Josh Sweat gonna cost you about 20.
Yeah, but you don't have to give up any draft picks for him though either.
And this is where things get interesting, right? So look, okay, all right. So I'm looking at calculated market value for both Chase Young and Josh Sweat. These are really the guys that I think make the most sense here. I'm in full agreement with Triple R. Fact is, we wouldn't have to give up major capital to get either one of these guys. They're both $18 million projected. All right. So just under 20, maybe 20, depending on what negotiations wind up as. Fair. Maybe you pay the $20 million for a guy like that. I'm less fussed if we're keeping draft picks in our pocket. Fair? Either one of these guys work for me.
I thought you were talking to Trip. You talking to Trip or me?
Well, I'm talking to everybody, like because I know Trip is already line of sight with me here. You know what I mean? He's in full agreement with me on this, especially because he brought both names to the table. I'm just telling you what they cost.
All right. Well, I have no problem with Josh.
Yeah, it'd be real sweaty D line.
I just believe this, and this is what I think about this whole thing. I know this. Chase Young is a difference maker. He's a difference maker. He doesn't have, and I think, and it's gonna sound like I'm getting on the fan base, and I'm not. I'm talking about, how people look at football. It's very, very general. Okay, you mentioned Chase Young. People are gonna go right to how many sacks did he have? Right. That's what people look at and say, okay, that determines what kind of production you have. And like how he didn't get no sacks. He got like this many sacks this season. It's like, dog, that's not everything. That's not everything. I think Chase Young in Chicago is perfect, given the circumstances. He just came off a stint with Dennis Allen, who speaks so fucking highly of him. So highly of him that, I think it's the perfect scenario. You don't have to go crazy in free agency on money. You can get you're talking about a blue chip football player right here. You're talking about a blue chipper, versus these guys that got a whole bunch of sacks. And, everybody thinks of, Micah Parsons and these other guys as these guys that there's just elite game changers. These guys may have more sack numbers, but I'm telling y'all, Chase Young, to me, that I would be overjoyed if we got him, because I know we'd be able to do multiple other things. But I'll let you guys speak on Chase Young, and let that be that.
I mean, being that he's a free agent at a position of need on a defensive line that we need, and he's not overly expensive, yeah. He can come in, free agent, part of the rotation. I got no problems with Chase Young coming in, but I don't see him as it's like, oh shit, we're changing the whole dynamic of the team by bringing in Chase Young on defense. I don't see him as all that, but he's a good, solid rotational piece.
Nah, I'm just telling you. I look at the tape. I just look at the tape, bro. That's all I do, Trip. Kid, that's all I do is I look at the tape, and there's some tape out there where you can see where Chase Young knows that he's not going to be in here. He was just there for a 1-year contract. And I was looking at one of the podcasts. I think it was the Colts. What's those dudes? I think it was the linebacker. They got 3 linebackers that do a podcast out there. And that podcast that they were talking about Flus, and they're talking about how Flus fucked them over during, wouldn't tell him what he needed to know as a rookie. And they don't like Flus. And it was that podcast, and they was talking about, the guys that come in on the 1-year contracts, and how it's basically the conversation I'll be trying to have with kids all the time. It's like, these guys that sign that 1-year contract, yeah, they coming in to try to give you something and try to earn another contract, but they're doing it at the same time, knowing that my body is the only thing getting me to the next contract that I'm gonna get. So I gotta give it to them. I got to give it to whoever just signed me, but at the same time, I got to protect myself. And so people wouldn't understand that. People wouldn't understand that. And everybody thinks, oh, he should be going 110% and going crazy. Nah, man's going to protect his body. He's on a 1-year contract. That's what they thought of him. So you give him 1-year contract worth of work. And so I'm cool with Chase Young and whatever he showed in New Orleans. People might see that differently, but I understand it being a former player.
So Minister Charles kind of hit the nail on the head here. He said if they're projecting the same amount, you get Josh Sweat. You have the exact same amount of numbers between the two of them. I really have to take another look at Chase Young's numbers here, just to understand. Like, he's a bit younger, but to understand his snap count. Oh, many more snaps, less sacks.
All you got to do is look at some Chase Young and Montez Sweat, when they was in Washington together.
Yeah, I don't.
They compete against each other because they're brothers, and they fight for who's the number one guy. And I'm telling you, that dynamic that they had there was incredible.
Well, maybe it'll be a Sweat party, and one Sweat will want to prove that he's the real Sweat, and then we'll get Keith Sweat to sing like a theme song, and there'll just be mad sweat everywhere.
I just wanted to make sure people,
Nobody.
I was waiting for it, Triple R. I was waiting for it. I almost
I've been wanting Chase Young in Chicago for a while, and I hope this is the perfect opportunity to seize and get this cat right here in Chicago. And I think those two across from each other, and they look at the film of, if Dennis Allen looks at the film of those two together and what they was able to produce, this one is a no-brainer to me. You bring that shit to Chicago. It worked once, it'll work again.
I have like I said, I have very little preference between the two. Either one will do it. I'm kind of leaning towards Josh Sweat at this point, more so than Chase Young. My thoughts is whoever you can get less, whoever's cheaper is the one that you roll with. Both of these guys will get to the quarterback. Not much I'll say. Numbers are about the same. I'm not sure though. Like, and here's the thing, man. Everybody was mad at Yannick Ngakoue a little while ago. He got to the quarterback 8 times when he was here. Same number of sacks that both of these guys have had over the course of the last 2 years, year on year. Both Josh Sweat and Chase Young. So it's, do they want to? Everybody's mad they're paying $10 million for Yannick Ngakoue and only got 8 sacks. You're going to be paying closer to $20 million for either one of these guys to get about the same number of sacks. So just wanted to put that out there. Interesting.
Sacks ain't all everything in the world, but I want to tee this conversation up like this. Let me get you guys on the screen before I listen. I said at the beginning of the show I was going to bring up a scenario that ain't nobody.
Wait. Before we fully transition off, before we do that, the Houston Texans, and this is where we were when you came back. The Houston Texans did something a little bit interesting a couple years ago after drafting C.J. Stroud. They drafted C.J. Stroud. They traded back up into the first round, and they got themselves their linchpin edge rusher. All right, Will Anderson. That's what they did. Will Anderson ain't going to cost them $20 million per season.
Not yet.
Well, no, not for another 5 years potentially, right? Like four years at this point.
Another 3 years.
3 years, whatever it is. So you've got rookie pay scale for the next little while. Is it better? Better might not be the right word. Would you consider a move like that as opposed to paying big money or spending big capital on the guys we were talking about today?
Again, man, a draft pick is a projection. I think the world of Landon Jackson, Mikal Williams, I think the world of Ashton Gelati. I think the world of a bunch of edge rushers. And I think they can come. And this is
who's the best edge in this class?
The best edge in this class, depending on what you're talking about, 4-3, 3-4. Best pure pass rusher or best pure edge? It's 3 different categories.
You're right. I'm gonna say pass rusher. Like
pure
pass rusher who can set the edge and draw. I want a guy who can do all 3 of those things.
The best all around edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think that goes to.
And there's his name. I'm waiting for it.
Jackson.
You're saying Landon Jackson is really.
I'd say Landon Jackson
over Abdul Carter, because that's really who I thought you were going to say.
Abdul Carter isn't an all around edge. I think he's good. I think he's okay at fitting the run and setting the edge on the run, but he's going to get moved around a little bit until he understands that the play strength is different here. I think Mikal Williams is great at setting the edge, but is not toolsy as he can be. But I think Landon Jackson is that deal. I think Landon Jackson as a pure edge rusher, and I don't think.
It's funny. I was watching film on him today. I was watching film on him today. Actually, I watched a film on a bunch of these edges, but not Abdul Carter, unfortunately. JT, I watched some JT film. I watched some Princely film. I like all 3 of those guys for complete.
It'd be a toss-up between Land and JT, one of those 2.
Princely's just
JT had a bad ankle all year long. I'll be talking about JT. Yeah. But you talking about the best overall, and I think JT or Landon, I don't think you can go wrong with one of those 2 in this defense at all.
All right.
At all.
Interesting. So so that being said, you would not trade up to get an Abdul Carter.
Hell no.
Okay. All right.
I think he's more of a 3-4 edge rusher.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. All right. So I'm just saying, like, there's another school of thought here with respect to how they manage that edge position, right? So I just wanted to sort of put that out there. Everybody wants to spend, $30 million and toss away 2 draft picks, which really equates to two contributors on this team, right? So if you're going to toss away a draft pick, why pay the big money?
Not to mention that we got Austin Booker, and that we think he'll be something. You know what I mean? Do. So you got to think about all that kind of stuff. And so what you're trying to get is thick in your rotation at on both sides of the ball. I mean, on both sides of the edge. You want Montez to have a proper backup, and you want Austin Booker to have somebody to compete with, so they have a 1-2 punch there. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they got 2 edge rushers, one in free agency and one in this draft. And so that second guy in the draft, they would get to flex on both sides. And so to me, that's the proper thing to do. You got competition for Austin. Austin's going to raise his game. If you bring in a Landon or JT, he's going to raise his game. And so one of them is going to rise to the top, and the other one is going to be the flex.
All right.
But let's get to the next conversation, because this is, like I said at the beginning, this is a conversation that you won't see out there with many people. I think, Kedz, you're going to like this conversation because I heard you talk about it many, many times before. But this is what I think should be getting talked about, but ain't nobody talking about it. A trade target, Jonathan Allen, 3-tech out of Washington. Why should he be a trade target? Number one is because I know that Dennis Allen likes a certain kind of 3-tech. And we'll get to that in a little bit later on. But this guy right here is in a situation where I believe they're going to sign a big-time free agent or 2, a big-time receiver, and I think they're going to get a big-time, probably a big-time edge rusher to kind of complete what this guy. They're already paying Deron Payne a whole lot of money, and so they can afford to pay 2 more people. So they just drafted Johnny Newton, who you saw on in games late in the season, getting a lot more reps. Now, Jonathan Allen did have a pectoral tear, and so they had to play Johnny Newton. But Johnny Newton gave them some really, really good minutes. But what I'm telling you, watching this fan base and listening to everything that they're talking about, it seems like Jonathan Allen might be the odd man out in the situation, because they're going to end up with a T. Higgins, Devontae Adams type guy. They're going to end up with one of these edge rushers or something like that, and they can't afford to pay all these guys. And so I think Jonathan Allen is going to end up on the trade block. And I think he's perfect for what we want to do here. And so just the comparison, just to know that they just drafted Johnny Newton, and I think they picked this guy knowing that they were going to have to let Jonathan Allen go after they signed Deron Payne. So that happened in succession. They signed Deron Payne and immediately went in the draft and drafted another 3-tech in Johnny Newton. So it's sometimes all you got to do is read the tea leaves and you know what's about to happen next. I think Jonathan Allen is on his way out of there. Whether we should target him or not is why I brought it up, so we have this conversation.
So I'm looking at. Remember the team we're talking about, right? So this team's got they've got mad cap space too, bro. And that's what worries me about just this as an idea. They can definitely afford to keep him, right? They can. So they've got $80 million in cap space available right now. They're not cap hurting. They drafted a quarterback who, again, they're not going to have to pay big money to over the course of the next 5 years. They're in this is why the Washington Commanders are actually a really terrifying team. They can retain him and still get Myles Garrett.
What I'm trying to get at, Kedz, is if that didn't happen and he ended up being out there as a trade piece, how do you feel about him being a pick coming to Chicago? We can get into the whole, salary cap thing. That's a whole other conversation. But what do you think about him as a potential Chicago Bear? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't want the Bears to get rid of any draft capital at all. I don't. I want them to keep their draft capital if at all humanly possible. You know what I mean? That's where my headspace is. I think they need at least 4 in the first few rounds, and hope, maybe one more if Ian leaves. In the first 3 rounds, we need at least 4 to 5 starter caliber players. That's what the Bears need. If they want to flip capital elsewhere to maybe, like, if you can get a Jonathan Allen for a 3rd round pick, I'm so down. I don't think that's possible.
I think it's possible. He's coming off a torn pec.
Remember now, if we do that, you're also sacrificing a whole bunch of cash, right? And this is sort of where my headspace is now. Trading is great and it sounds awesome, but you don't have to trade. You can actually spend the capital that you have and get a Jonathan Allen like talent. Quite frankly, Johnny Newton was floating around there in the draft. He dropped so far. We picked a punter. You know what I mean? He was around. He was right around there at that 4th round. So, if they were really interested in something like a Johnny Newton, they probably should have made that move when they had the opportunity. But the fact is, they believe in Javon Dexter, and I'd like to say that I do too. Mind you, I'm not so sure I believe in the guy who's standing next to him, and I'm not talking about Andrew Billings.
I'm agreeing with you, bro. I agree with I'm all in on Javon Dexter. This is the next place I'm gonna go is gonna make a little bit more sense to you. Now, when we have a conversation about what kind of player does Dennis Allen want? What kind of type does he like? We've had that conversation, multiple times here on the channel. And, I think people are starting to, understand that, you got to look at it through the coach's eyes and not what we like and versus what we see as a dollar amount accessible, or what do we see as, some kind of, whatever we look at the salary cap and, whatever we have, we look at that, we look at it through those lenses and what we like and what we don't like, versus instead of looking at it through the coach's eyes, which is what I'm trying to do here. And I'm telling you, I'm going to show you right now. And I'm going to preface this with this. When the New Orleans Saints defense was at its best, you know who their 3-tech was?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to show you. Let me show you. This guy right here, David Onyemata, who is now Atlanta Falcon. 6'4", 300 pounds. Jonathan Allen, 6'3", 300 pounds. You see? You see what I'm getting at? Really, really, really good against the run. Really, really good at penetrating. He likes a certain kind of guy. They weren't able to keep David Onyemata, and I think that defense went down from there. From there, that defense went down after David Onyemata left that defense and went to Atlanta. I think it was a couple of years ago now. I think it might be the second season in Atlanta, but that defense went down. But just to show you that there's a type, and I know that we like to think about, what we want on this team. We have to start thinking about what this coach likes. This is Dennis Allen. He's the coordinator now. What kind of 3-tech does he like? When that team was really, really good and humming, David Onyemata, 6'4", 300 pounds, was their 3-tech. Just to put that out there. This just for perspective, kids. That's all I'm saying, kids and trips. This is the perspective that I know. So I'll let you guys have your takes from here.
Trip?
Yeah. If he was a free agent, that's one thing. But, now we're back in the situation of having to give up draft capital for somebody coming off injury and having to pay him. Now you're putting yourself in another position where is the expenditure of those resources worth what the player can bring, back?
Well, since you're talking about the injury, a torn pec is way different. This is a torn chest muscle. A torn pec is way different than a busted up ACL or an Achilles injury or something like that. This is a completely repairable. I think that's what Andrew Billings had that put him down for the rest of the season. In fact, I think Jonathan Allen was ruled out for the season but came back for the playoffs. I believe. I might be wrong there, but I believe he came back and was available for the playoffs. I think it's a muscle tear is what it is. It's all it is.
Yeah, you still can't play with it torn. So I just prefer to get players who aren't coming off of injuries. I get you get dinged up and concussions are worse than this or ACLs are worse than that. But just to give up, draft capital to bring him in, it's like, well, to do that is no, thank you.
Yeah. I understand I knew how Trips would react to it. He just see, he was injured. Okay. No,
yeah.
I know how Trips is.
Show me the Carfax. It's like, oh, hell no.
For me, it's got everything to do with like, can you draft? So Ryan Poles has said famously that he wants to build this team through the draft. And we're in the offseason. And there's definitely positions that he's going to have to hit in free agency and spend money on. And I think we've identified them being, one defensive tackle, like I have to say it, an edge rusher, 2 guards, and a left tackle. I think that's what he needs in free agency here. Potentially, I will also layer in running back safety. But all of these same positions are the same positions that he should be drafting. All right? Like, those are the positions of need. That being said, there's a guy like, like Walter Nolan, 6'3", 293. Very similar build case scenarios, both these guys, and you don't have to pay Walter Nolan $8 billion over the course of the next couple of seasons. Both of these gentlemen are a little bit up in age, just as as considering what Ryan Poles likes to do. He likes to stick it around that 27-year-old age group when he's spending money on a guy. These guys are well north of that. So
sometimes I think we look at sometimes you look at patterns with Ryan Poles and you get it conflated with what you think he's going to do moving forward. That's what he did when Flus was the head coach. Remember, he's not making these decisions in a vacuum. He's making these in conjunction with the coaches that he has. And that is, Dennis Allen and that is Ben Johnson, who will have a very large say so about what is brought into this building. In fact, You heard Ryan Poles say it, doing his going away presser was, dude, I'm not in the business of just drafting. I mean, just getting guys just because I want to get guys. He doesn't do that. He gets them because that's what the coach wants. And so any deficiencies we see on this team, I'm blaming it on the coaching staff. And I know me and Kedz had some words about that before. And I'm trying to tell people that it doesn't happen in a fucking utility closet or in a vacuum. He makes these decisions based on what the coaches tell him they need. And so wherever we came up short, that's one thing you could probably lay on at the feet of the coach. Number one. Number two, and with Dennis Allen and Ben Johnson in this building, who they decide to bring onto this roster, why they decide to bring them onto this roster, it's all up to them. They're just going to give Ryan Poles marching orders. That's what he's going to do. So, this is, I don't know that he even likes Jonathan Allen. I'm just using this as a comparison as to, what this guy, particularly prefers. When that defense was humming in New Orleans, this was their 3-tech. Just saying, people can feel how they want to feel about it.
I'm just saying that they can find a guy like this in the second round of this year's draft. They've got 2 second-round picks available. That's not going to cost them $15 million plus to provide, a similar skill set and or similar build as what you put in front of us here today. So that's sort of where my head is, like, for all of this stuff. I'm really hoping he doesn't, whatever he does, because like part of my beef with Ryan Poles said he's been throwing capital away, right? Threw capital away for Chase Claypool, threw capital away for Keenan Allen. The Keenan Allen one, to me, made the least sense. Like, Chase Claypool's one thing. I see, I get what you're trying to do there. Keenan Allen, why throw a 4th-round pick at a wide receiver when you have 2, and then you go and draft one? Anyways, keep your capital. Go and draft a wide receiver. You know what I mean? In that scenario. But in this case scenario, go and draft a 3-tech.
You gotta shore this up because there's expectations. And I'm looking at Alex Machado's comment. He said, keep an eye on Marcus Davenport, another New Orleans guy that ended up, I think, in Detroit this year. And I think he's out of a contract now, might be out there on free agency. That's another Dennis Allen guy. One of those edge rushers that has that versatility to kick inside and give you some inside D tackle reps and play the edge. I mean, we can ignore.
That's a good look, Alex. Actually,
yes,
that's a good look.
If I think the obvious is right there in front of us, kids. I think we get wrapped up into the way we manage personal finances and saying what I want to spend on this or what I want to spend on that. I don't want to trade my draft capital. The draft capital is just a fucking projection. I'm telling you, it's just what you think this guy can be versus what I know this guy is. And you need this shit turned around really quickly, kids. They know that they have a mandate. They need to get this thing. Ben Johnson is the one that said, we think we can get this going right away. Now, I didn't say that. He said that. And so you're not going to get it going right away with 7 draft picks. You're going to have to spend some money in free agency, and you might have to trade.
I agree with that. Money will have to be spent, right? Money will have to be spent, and
you might have to trade, kids.
I don't think you do. I think you focus on the free agency market. You spend the money you need to spend to shore up the positions of need, and you keep your capital. I think you do all of these things, right? I just don't. I don't think you should even consider letting go of any capital this time around. I think he's already thrown away way more capital than potentially required as a GM. Like that's just my thoughts on the whole situation. Keep all the capital, get the draft picks. Because why I'm saying that? Because now you can get your depth squared away. If we're talking about a guy like Marcus Davenport, which is a brilliant look, bro. Like shout outs to Alex. I gotta give you a little bit of love. That's a brilliant look. Alex was hurt, yes. Very recently he was hurt, but his price tag is so much south of what we would be talking about for these 2 particular guys. He's a $3 million man. You bring him on the team for a year or two. He's actually younger than both of these guys as well, right? Great look. Fits the bill in that respect. Former Detroit Lion. Ben Johnson has some history with him. It's actually a real it would make sense to me to bring a guy like that on the team as opposed to either one of these guys. And then you go and you dip in the draft and you get another 3 if you're really worried about it. Or you get a big DT, a big nose to handle the stuff that that needs to be handled when Andrew Billings goes down, because God knows it's not happening with the other guy.
Well, this is an option that is out there. You know, if you didn't like that, I'm pretty sure you ain't gonna like this conversation. This is not my thoughts and my virtues, but there's a world where Cole Kmet's not on this team next year.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I might have been the impetus of that particular idea, but continue.
No, I mean, it's, you know, the reality is, you know, what would it cost us to, you know, let Cole Kmet walk? Could he be a cap casualty? I'm just asking questions. I'm not making statements. Could he be a cap casualty? Could they cut Cole Kmet? And what would, you know, you got the machine over there, kids. You wouldn't know.
I actually know. I'm not even going to look. I know off the top of my head because I cut him in the first time we did this stuff.
Tell the fans and the viewers what that's like. What does that look like?
It basically works out to being a positive, about $5 million plus positive for the Chicago Bears cap. That's what it looks like if they cut him this season.
So what's his contract is like, I think he signed a 3 or 4 year. Shit, what was that motherfucking contract, man? I can't remember exactly, but anyway, so at the bottom line, the composite came out to be, if they were to walk away from Cole Kmet and let him go, cut him, it would end up costing us what?
It wouldn't cost us anything. We would net $7 million.
So we would gain $7 million by letting cutting Cole Kmet.
Yep.
And so, does that make any sense to you, kids?
Well, no, it doesn't. So, like, it doesn't. You're totally dumb. Then it costs you more to fill the void. Like, thanks, Minister Charles. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Talking about the draft now, everybody want to get dumb because it's so we. It's
no,
dumb.
He's right. He's right.
Cole Kmet. Come on, man.
No, he's
we
right.
Can draft another fucking tight end. Come on now, Minister.
We can still do that, right? So that's not out of the woodwork. I'll look at it this way, right? So yes, it would be a positive $7+ million for the Bears if they did cut him. But then you're basically just cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? So now you got rid of him, and now you could definitely have to go and double down and get another tight end in the draft and or in free agency. If you want to spend $7 million on a Noah Fant, let me just do some. Oh, here we go. Let's look at Noah Fant real quick. Noah Fant, what are you looking at, bruh? What's your yeah, you know what I mean? Like, maybe they could get a Noah Fant, they would still be paying a little bit more. He's in contract right now, so they'd be paying a little bit more to get him.
So I think what you're saying, and I'm gonna round this shit off for you. You saying it won't be the end of the world, right?
I'm saying it's a dumb move, is what I'm saying. The guy you would want to cut at the tight end position isn't named Cole Kmet. His name is actually Gerald Everett.
Okay.
If you wanted to do it, the savings are almost identical. I think it's $6 million as opposed to $7 million. I don't think Gerald Everett saw a target this season, maybe once or twice. That would be the guy that I would cut as opposed to Cole. That's just me.
Yeah, I mean, as Cole is on the team, he's not detrimental. He's not like a total negative. Him getting the ball thrown to him is, totally different.
That's another story.
Yeah, it's a totally different story. But for what he's paid, across the league, he's, in a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Not overpriced. He's not underpriced. And you still have to replace the other two tight end positions. So that's already signing another free agent and drafting somebody. It just doesn't make sense to cut him to save $7 million when you now have to still replace him and two other positions in that same room. So that's a hole that you don't need to create.
Yeah, it's cutting off your nose, leaving a hole in your face despite your face. That's really the best way to put it. Minister Charles is laying it down here. It's not done because it's someone's opinion. It's done because you don't accomplish anything with that move. And again, it's going to cost you more overall. I'm not just talking money wise either.
So how would people react if that happened?
You know what I mean? Ryan Poles came in here, got rid of James Daniels and cut Khalil Mack, got rid of Robert Quinn, got rid of Roquan Smith. People wouldn't be happy with it, but they'd live with it and bear down after. You know what I mean?
The only people really upset are, the Komet fans because he's local from the area. Other than that, it's like, yeah, whatever. If somebody can do his job better, get that person in there and get him the fuck out. Ain't no way. We don't love these hoes.
I think what people hear me bring up these topics and mistakenly assume that this is what I'm rooting for. I'm bringing this stuff up for conversation,
for discussion. Fair enough.
That's it. Get the goddamn panties out your ass, man.
And it's for that reason why I cut him. When we did our first offseason exercise, I wanted to see what it would look like and how much cap space it would really give us. Now that I've done that, I can safely say it would be silly, because what I had to do is go right back into free agency and find a tight end. And then I also kind of had to consider drafting one too, which you thought was crazy. But
run that back one more time. I looked away for a second. What you say, kid?
All right. So what I said was, this is why I did it in our offseason situation when we did the simulation, just to see what it would look like. And what I had to do is go and pay Noah Fant, and then I had to go draft, I believe, Colston Loveland or something like that. I had to draft a tight end.
Colston Loveland in the first round, so you got to put that in context. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you the email too. Somebody sent me the email and said, thank God you talked Kedz off the ledge. He was trying to get a tight end in the first round.
Well, I had to get a tight end.
It wasn't the tight end. It was when you went to get him.
Fair. I'm not familiar. I haven't scouted tight ends for this draft at all. All I know is the top three are actually really good.
That's when you lean on your boy who's been scouting these motherfuckers, man.
You've been scouting tight ends already up to 3 weeks ago, man. Come on now. I
put out a couple of them already.
All right. Well, even then, you know what I'm saying? The point being, you can't cut Cole Kmet. It's just a silly move. The move to make, if you want to cut a tight end and save some capital, is you upgrade the Gerald Everett pick. The Gerald Everett situation. You cut Gerald Everett, you save $6 million in that move, and you go and you get yourself a maybe a Noah Fant, which makes more sense to me. Will you be spending more money with that move? Yeah, you will, but you're also upgrading heavily, in my opinion, because I don't think we got anything out of Gerald Everett last season.
Here's my take on Cole Kmet, and this is my real true feelings about Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet's a hell of a tight end. I think his superpower is the fact that he's reliable. And that is more than anything else I can say about Cole Kmet, is the fact that he's there and he's available and he's got blue chip traits about him. He's a big, strong tight end that can go out and run routes and give you some work. Here's the thing about Cole Kmet. And I'm imagining that, and I'm not one of those people that feels like, okay, make it your priority to go cut Cole Kmet. Hell no. No. I'm just going to give you my honest take on Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet struggles with blocking. He struggles bad. And I've seen that one too many times on film, man, and it kind of pisses me off. And I believe this. that Ben Johnson is superior with his thinking and how he approaches the game and running the ball, and he's going to require those receivers, and that includes the tight end, to be great blockers. And I think if he sees what I saw on tape on Cole Kmet, he's going to question whether Cole Kmet is worth keeping or could we do better. Now, if he decides that they don't want to keep Cole Kmet, I'm going to be okay with it. If he decides he wants to keep Cole Kmet, I'm going to be okay with it. I'm just giving you my honest assessment of Cole Kmet. He struggled in the blocking game, picking up assignments. And why Ben Johnson was very successful in Detroit, it's assignment football, bro. It's assignment football. This is your man, seal him. Basically, the offensive line to the tight end, to the running backs, to the receivers. This is your man, seal him. Give this guy an open lane to run the ball.
Well, they did in Detroit trade away T.J. Hawkinson to the Vikings.
Worth of shit.
And then, got a rookie, Laporta, and made him look, all world.
Because you know why? Because he couldn't block worth of shit, Trips. And I'm just saying, people get mad at me all they want to. I'm putting the facts on the table. Go ahead, Trips.
No, I mean, there's nothing else to really say. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's no. I don't see Kmet as it's like, a great game changer, game breaker, game maker. He's just a solid player for what he's paid. He could be upgraded, and there are tight ends that are worse. So, and if he's gone, okay, whatever.
I'm with you in that assessment. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of numbers to think about, right? So just snap count. Cole Kmet is close to 1,000 snap counts on the season, versus Gerald Everett, who has under 300 snaps on the season. All right, they're both cutting either and or is almost the exact same number. So who do you cut? Do you not cut the guy who basically isn't even making his way on the field? Or do you cut the guy who's playing 90%, 86% of the snaps? Just doesn't, it just doesn't make sense to cut Cole Kmet, even if he's a blocking liability. You just go and draft a guy who is actually a blocker. And you put him on the team.
That's when you get into maybe some quasi fucked up territory. Because I'm gonna explain it. Sam Laporta was drafted because he was a better blocking tight end than who was the guy that got traded out of their Trips?
TJ Hawkinson. Okay. Now, when you got your slot receiver who is Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is a better blocking receiver than your tight end, who picks up his assignment and takes care of his assignment, and your tight end ain't doing it, and it's making your whole scheme look bad. You're not wrong because you don't see Cole Kmet as that guy. You're not wrong, and it's not stupid that you don't, keep him on the team. There's I think you missed
think about it. No. I heard you. There's ways to think about it other than a financial reason.
No, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Financial is layer A. Layer B is, as opposed to trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, being, hey, Cole Kmet, go block for us when you're not a very good blocking tight end, which is, which I will agree with you 100%. You go draft a blocking tight end and you get rid of the guy who's not seeing the field. You know what I'm saying? This guy's actually making 86% of snaps versus, and I'm gonna tell you what Gerald Everett's.
So do you want to
percentage of snaps? 22% of snaps.
Is what I seen on film on Gerald Everett. Because you're looking at production and what we got out of Gerald Everett in Chicago when I know his film before Chicago.
Okay.
You're talking to that kind of guy, man. And so I don't look at these numbers and it doesn't tell me what I think Gerald Everett is. Do I think he's a kind of tight end that Ben Johnson would want? No, I don't think so whatsoever. And I think he's a likely, cut. he's not going to be on this team. But that's not the reason. I look at the numbers. He was not asked to do a whole lot while he was here in Chicago. And for whatever reason that is, and I look at those numbers, that doesn't have any effect on the kids whatsoever, because I know what Gerald Everett is. He's a receiving tight end. That's what he does.
This is my point. So you have two, simple math now, right? You have two tight ends. One plays, the other doesn't. They both do the same thing. They're both receiving tight ends.
Who's the better receiving tight end to you?
Well, I think the Bears think it's Cole Kmet, or they might have.
Who's the better receiving tight end to you?
I think the Bears think it's. I'm not at practice. You know what I mean? I'm not at practice.
It's definitely Gerald Everett.
There's no chance that it could be, because straight up, he had 240 snaps, 22% of snaps last year.
That doesn't matter.
I think it matters a lot.
They
would have played him over Cole Kmet if they felt he was A, the better blocker, B, the better receiving tight end. They just would have played him.
Gerald Everett is a much better receiving tight end than Cole.
I think he's a great receiving tight end. Unfortunately, I don't think the Bears think that.
Well,
or they would have played him.
Talking about the former coaching staff versus the guy that's coming in here now. Gerald Everett won't be a part of this team more likely than not. He won't be a part of this team, but it won't be because he's not a better receiver. He's a better receiver and tight end than Cole Kmet by a mile.
Maybe he is.
He is. He just didn't get, under the circumstances, they didn't get going what they intended to get going when they brought him here. They brought him here for Shane Waldron and what Shane Waldron wanted to install. And so once Shane Waldron ran into the conundrum and ran into the brick wall with Caleb Williams and the running game and the offensive line, he just got lost in the sauce. And whatever his stats are his stats. And he knows that. He knows that I came into a fucked up situation, and this is what it is. It doesn't lessen him. His ability to be a receiving tight end is probably upper level in the league as a receiving tight end. Blocking tight end, we're talking having a completely different conversation. But a receiving tight end, he's a mile away from Cole Kmet.
Look, I think he's a fantastic receiving tight end. I was quite pleased when they brought him on the team, except for the fact that Caleb Williams clearly has no interest in targeting tight ends at all. So there's that one. That being said, if you're looking at either one of these guys as a blocking tight end, I think that's when you lost. Neither one of them are.
Look at what AC said. They had him playing fullback, dude, and that's true. Fullback.
Look, they also had what's his name playing fullback. Like, you know what I'm saying? Doug Kramer. I don't think that's a reason to keep him on the team. I think he needs to go. And I think they need to go and get themselves a blocking tight end. Like I'm with you in where you are. It's just not Cole Kmet for two reasons. And the big reason is he's smack in the middle of a longer term contract. The upside with him being smack in the middle of a longer term contract is that they got him at tight end money a couple years ago. That money's going to ride out. The numbers always raise, right? So you just keep Cole Kmet. It's just what you do. You keep him, roll with it. You get rid of the other guy. They do the same thing. If you're saying, like, I will not be surprised if Gerald Everett winds up on the Washington Commanders and balls out. I would not be shocked in the least. Fact is, 242 snaps does not justify $5 million. Just doesn't.
Okay, I ain't arguing that at all.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm arguing. It's about ability versus the next person. You know what I mean? You look at some numbers, and you can get your mind skewed and twisted the wrong way, and that's just all I'm saying about that.
I honestly didn't even need the numbers for this because, like, I didn't see him on the field at all this season. Like, you could literally count how many times Gerald Everett was out there. So, you know what I mean? That being the case, you know.
Gerald Everett is probably somewhere with his family. Like, I'm glad the motherfucking shit is over. They might have fucked up my motherfucking market value just by way of look at what the fuck happened here. He got fucked over the whole time he's been here. Completely. He got fucked over. Everything that he was supposed to be did not manufacture itself. I don't want to get too carried away in this conversation. We talking about a tight end and it's not going to be on this roster. But I'm going to tee this conversation up, kids, because this could turn into the next 15, 20 minutes of me and you going back and forth. But this conversation I want to have, and I'm about to share my screen just a second. I'm about to share my screen. Hold on. And so I put something into Chat GPT, and I mentioned this before the show. Kids, man, you can kiss my ass for introducing me to this shit because it was no good for me. But I'm going to put this up. And I put a scenario in there. Hold on. Let me get back into the studio. I'm going to put this in there. Hold on. I'm going to read it off to you guys. And I'm not saying that any of this is going to happen, but I put in the scenario. What is Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson's trade value? And this is what Chat GPT said. Assessing the trade value of Chicago Bears quarterback Jalen Johnson involves considering his performance, contract status, the market demand for top-tier cornerbacks. And here's where it goes. In the 2024 season, Johnson started all 17 games, recording 53 combined tackles, 48 solo, 8 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, earning his second Pro Bowl selection. In March 2024, he signed a 4-year, $76 million contract extension with the Bears, including a $51.4 million guaranteed signing bonus with $20 million signing bonus. I'm fucking this all up. This extension keeps him under contract through the 2027 season. Trade value consideration. Given Jalen Johnson's age at 25, consistent performance, and favorable contract terms, his trade value would be significant. For context, in 2019, cornerback Jalen Ramsey, then 25, was traded to the Los Angeles Rams for 2 first-round picks and a 4th-round pick, despite not having a long-term contract at the time. Considering Jalen Johnson's current contract and performance, a comparable trade package would be expected. However, it is important to note that the Bears have invested heavily in Johnson, and trading him would incur a substantial dead cap hit due to his guaranteed money. Therefore, while his market value is high, the financial implication for the Bears trade is unlikely. That's what it said. And so think about what part stood out to you, because to me it's the part what happened with
Jalen
Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey. They got 2 first-round picks out of that and a 4th. And this is exactly where they're in the same place. I'm just gonna stop there. And what do you think about that?
I think you're crazy. You've been trying to get this young blood off this team for the last few weeks, but he's gonna be here. He's gonna be here in September. I'm just putting it out there now. Taylor will be here in September
because we got people out here talking about getting Myles Garrett and getting Micah Parsons, bro. We talking about what are you gonna get to replace the shit that you just gave up to get those guys?
But this is what I'm trying to think. Don't give nothing up.
Kids, that will naturally lead you down this road, would it not?
Look, come on now. You got one. You have a single Pro Bowl player on this team. One. And you're going to trade him off. You know what I'm saying? You just signed the kid. You're going to trade him off. Look, you can do it. You can get some capital for it. They attempted to do this a season ago. All right? They attempted to do this a season ago by franchise tagging him. And nobody came to the table to offer 2-1s or anything like that. That was already, he was allowed to test the market. They came back and they signed him because he played through it. Remember? You know what I mean? Like they waited on signing his contract and made sure to watch and see if he deserved it. He did. They paid him. The cap hit here is substantial, bro. We're talking a $30 million cap hit. So that instantly, let's just cut this dude. That turns your wow. Yeah, that really hurts. You know what I'm saying? That's painful. That's a painful, crippling cap hit that we're talking about. The upside here, there is an upside. The upside is, again, if you get two ones or whatever, you can go get a couple of guys and you go get them and you pay them rookie money, and that's good and great. Get yourself another corner, top of the first round corner to supplant Jalen Johnson. Potential. I just don't see anybody giving up 2 ones for a cornerback. That's crazy to me. I'm not sure who that team is.
This ain't the question of what do you think you would do, or what I'm talking about. What if this happened? Do you see that scenario as something that you can get with?
Yeah. If I was offered a couple first round picks for Jalen, knowing that yes, Jalen is a good cover guy, his tackling is suspect, and he's not going to get your picks. I mean, that was a big thing before he signed the contract was, well, we need to see him make some interceptions. So he made a few interceptions, signed a deal, and then stopped making interceptions. So
what's the famous, GM, the most famous, little phrase that I can think of when it comes to GMs is trade high, right?
Yeah.
That's
so you want to maximize the value for your for what your players. And if looking at this team going forward, if you're making a hole, removing Jalen Johnson, do we have somebody in-house already that we can replace him with? And
answer is yes.
And with the draft capital being that high, if we were to use one of those picks on, a cornerback, that high of a cornerback, that's a pretty substantial lottery ticket, for a prospect. So if that was presented to me, yeah, I'd take that deal, because now you're transferring that contract away. You got compensation coming back for him, and you have replacements already for him in the building, possibly. So that's a different situation than like a Komet to me.
This return, like it's basically a Godfather situation. Make me an offer I can't refuse. That's basically what we're talking about here. If they're gonna throw you 2 firsts and a 4th, like, what I mean? Like, I would probably actually do it too.
You know who I can see doing it? A fucking Buffalo.
Yeah, they're contending, and they feel that if they're cornerback away,
fucking Buffalo, they right there.
Not Moss, whatever.
They ended up they drafted Kyer Elam high, and he didn't end up being what they wanted him to be, and they're down on that kid. And in order for them to get over the top, I think that the only thing that they're really missing is a lockdown corner. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, and Cornelius is laying it down out there. I don't know. I wouldn't, if I'm looking at a Jalen Ramsey, that's one thing, versus a Jalen Johnson, it's a totally different thing, in my opinion. I'm kind of with you there. Buffalo might do it, but here's the problem with it. You're getting like the 30th pick in the first round, right? You're getting a super late round pick for Jalen Johnson. So there's that too. I would probably want something a little bit earlier than that, so I can really do some damage. But
you think anybody knew about the cornerback from Philadelphia before, I guess, the Senior Bowl? Like I forget his name right now, number 27.
You talking Cooper DeJean?
No, Cooper DeJean, we talked about it, but we also talked about another guy. You might forget this guy, but number 27, the starting cornerback rookie from Toledo, we talked about that guy too. We did it the fuck.
I need the name though. I can't remember
his name right now. Y'all help me out in the Nomad. Help me out with that one. But we talked about him. It's about whether you know what the fuck you're doing in the draft. It doesn't It doesn't matter whether you get the 8th pick, the 30th pick, the 63rd pick.
Quinyon Mitchell.
Fucking Quinyon Mitchell, bro. Quinyon Mitchell. You just got to know what the fuck you're looking at and know how to draft. And so you get a first-round pick, wherever that first-round pick is, as long as you know what you're looking at when it's time for you to draft and you know what you want, it doesn't matter where that pick is.
I wouldn't move Gordon to the outside at all, Alex. I would just bring up Terrell. That's it. I call it a day. Terrell's real good, man. I leave Gordon right where he's at.
No, I'm with Alex Machado. I have no problem moving Gordon to the outside.
I would not do that.
Flourishes on the outside. I don't think they will with Dennis Allen. I think Dennis Allen likes what he sees on film, and I think Kyler Gordon is heading towards a Pro Bowl season with Dennis Allen. That's what I think.
In that nickel slot role, bro, he is. I'd say second to none, but maybe there's somebody who does it better that I'm not paying attention to. Mind you, he's playing lights out there, and I would not move him. I would just, like I say, I would elevate Terrell Smith. I think Terrell Smith, we got to see him a little bit there this year. I thought he played really well. That's what I would do. I put those guys out there, and I don't think it would be a huge drop off, to be honest with you. I hate to say that, Jalen. I'm sorry. I don't think it'd be a huge drop off.
I think Terrell Smith has got. I look at his film and I watch him playing one-on-one. He played a lot of zone. He was drafted as a zone corner, kids. He's a cover 2, cover 3, cover 4 kind of zone cornerback, and that's why he ended up here in Chicago, because that's what Flus wants to do. Completely opposite of what Dennis Allen does. He's a tack up man-to-man, press man corner, and he gets after the quarterback. And so I'm not saying that Terrell Smith can't be that man-to-man corner with his length. He's just going to have to prove it when it comes to little receivers. When you have to get on somebody in the slot that's 5'8", 185 pounds, and is a jitterbug, you at 6'2", 200 some odd pounds, can you hold that? And that's the question. And so I think Terrell Smith is a curious piece to talk about, man. I think he might end up being a guy that they might move around a little bit. They might try him at slot. They might try him at safety. That's what Dennis Allen likes, versatile pieces. And so, I don't think Tyreek Stevenson's going to move spots. I don't think if Jalen Johnson stays here, he's going to move spot. I think the other guys are going to have to get more versatile, Terrell Smith being one.
Well, like I say, I hate this conversation because I think the kid should stay. I think he's awesome. Chris Foster came in the door and said, "We're not trading Double J." I'm with you, Chris. Either way, though, if they offer you 2 first-round picks for it, you definitely got to consider that situation. And I wouldn't be mad at Ryan Poles if he did it. Like, I'd be mad, a little bit mad. I'd be a little bit mad, but still, like, from a compensation perspective, it's crazy. To me, it really depends on which team is offering these 2 picks, though.
Hey, you know what? That's enough Bears conversation, man. We had this has probably been a hard 2.5, damn 3 hours worth of Bears conversation. Let's talk about some other shit, Trips. Because you know what? You a motherfucker sometimes. You know that, bro, right? You know that. Have you ever heard about this trio right here, or this group right here? The midget Kardashians, the mini Kardashians. Have you ever heard about these people, man? What's your thoughts about this, man? Because I saw this and I was just like, damn.
Yeah, it's little dwarfism X. You know what I mean?
So how they just gonna just straight up steal the people them last name, like?
Because they can do that shit. When you that little and look that good, you can do that kind of shit.
Throw mini in front of it. Instead of little.
What you think? I mean, Kedz, what you think about this, man? Your honest opinion, man. You seen this walking down the street. You gonna stop? Just imagine you wasn't married. You know what I mean? And you can just holler at whoever you want to. You gonna holler at one of you little motherfuckers?
I can't do this right now. We went. My brain was in a whole other place. Now I'm staring at. Are these two twins? These two here in the middle? They look too much.
I
bet you these two are actually related, and the other two, like this, the one on the far right, I don't think she's their sister at all. She don't look like the other three. We got like a Chloe, a Kim, and a Courtney. I'm not sure who this other one is though. She's not the. I don't know.
God damn, man. We might have to change everything up in the bathroom, man. This big ass toilet, this shower. We gotta change everything. The kitchen, everything. But damn, I was just like, hold up, they holding. These little motherfuckers holding, bro. I'm just saying, man. Trips, you awful quiet, man. You be talking a lot of shit. But, man,
no, I'm just looking.
Oh man, yeah.
Hey, no,
hey, I don't.
We had a whole lot of shit talk last time this conversation came up, and now motherfucker got a mouthful of shit. They got a mouthful of bullshit. Now, I bet you ain't nobody on this panel turning down no motherfucker on this street.
See, man, I one trip to Tiny Town was good enough for me, bro. That's all I really got. Is shout out to the Minister Charles Johnson for keeping it real.
I mean, they got no problems with them. I ain't, kicking them out of bed just because they tiny.
Well, they might hurt themselves when they got to stick the landing.
Right.
These are the seventh wonders of the world to me, bro. Like, hold the fuck up. You can't be made like that, holding all that. You just smaller. You just a shorter size person, but holy shit. Holy shit.
I hope you got ladders.
Mm-hmm.
You got ladders at the crib?
Who? Shit,
you're the one who put this out front. I'm asking you got ladders?
I'll go buy them a personal ladder around this motherfucker.
You gotta have step stools, reach the cabinets.
What you need, goddamn it, shit.
Got some ladders and
hey, grab me some ice cream out the freezer. I can't reach the freezer. You gotta be careful. Like if it's a deep freezer, it's like don't fall in. And that top close on your little ass.
Hey, Trips, I go buy them the little pony ass beers and shit you get from the store and shit. Them little, them little motherfuckers, man. The little beer ponies and shit you can get. I'm talking about them little ass beers you can get from the liquor store, man.
Yeah, little minis.
Man, I was just like, hold up, they ain't got it like this out here. I better not run into one of these motherfuckers. I'd be at their ass in the daytime with a flashlight, bro. Straight up.
Damn.
Real talk though, man.
Yeah, I got nothing for you on this one. You know what I mean? We've been down this road. It was a little funny. Now I'm just short on comments.
Nah, I know what's gonna happen when the show is over. He's gonna be like thinking about this shit.
That was beautiful.
He's gonna be like, hold up. Where'd that go, man? How would that go? What would that look like? What would that feel like?
They're got all the same parts.
Yeah.
They're just different, in a different package.
Yeah, like you could. Oh man, such a evil bastard. I'm sorry.
It's like the mini candy bars. Everybody enjoys the full size better, but if that's all you got is the mini, it's like, well, it is the same thing, it's just smaller. Mm-hmm.
Dog, I'm not fucking around if I see one of these motherfuckers do. I'm about business when I see this. I'm about business, straight up. That's just all I can say about that. Luckily,
the next category of porn for these is like, when my stepmom's a dwarf, or when my stepsister is a munchkin.
All right,
everybody got to be related though.
All right.
Well, that's the way porn is nowadays. I don't make the rules.
I get okay, fair enough.
All right, give me one, kids. You only pick one out the bunch, man. Don't give me no bullshit trying to pick 2, 3 because you can't make your mind up. Give me one.
Oh, it's got to be the one on the second one in. Second one from the left.
Ooh, okay.
That was fast.
That's a good one. Yeah, that was real.
There's only 4 of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely not the one on the right.
Hey, Ked's wife locked the goddamn bathroom.
I'm just saying the one on the right kind of looked like I don't know, man. I'm all together. I'm worried about her.
Hey,
the left. The scroll is with me, bro. The scroll is right there with me.
Yeah, either the far left or the second from the left.
Oh, she holding for sure.
See,
all right, what's
but you know, twins, you know, twin munchkins. Oh, come on.
Hey, Scroll said second from the right.
It up. He went second from the right now, but that's fine because she looked just like the other one, except maybe a little bit smaller.
Okay, okay, Trips. What say you?
Yeah, the what is that? The second from the left.
Trips with me.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing to. Now it's on me. Damn. I'm gonna have to go with the tallest one with the little pop belly.
Okay, all right.
Because that feels more like right. Okay. You got to think about some of that might feel a little awkward if you never did no shit like that.
You think?
I mean, you got that might come into play. You never know. Like, oh, the fuck up. But you got to remember you're dealing with a grown ass person. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess the one closer to reality. I guess that's just where my head is. But now I ain't gonna even say what I do with all that.
See all this talk. We lost Trip, man.
He'll be back.
We lost Trip somehow.
He'll be back
in Tiny Town.
But that was right as I was about to get ready to close this up, man. That was fun to talk about. But holy shit, when I found out about this, I was just like, oh, bro, I'm bringing this on the show.
I'm just saying that I think the Kardashians should sue. I think they should definitely sue when they find out that there's little people running around with their last name. I'd be real mad.
Bro, I actually made this up. Kardashian thing. I nothing to worry about. I put all that shit together.
Okay, perfect. That's fine. So I like how you stepped in front of the ladies and don't sue them. Sue me instead. Sue me.
I did that.
This is on me.
I did that. Don't get them in trouble.
Oh man. Well, like, all right. We have to leave this topic because, like I say, I'm getting eviler and eviler the more we
go. You're gonna be thinking about this later.
No, I won't. I can definitely put this out of my mind immediately after it leaves the screen.
No, it's ingrained in my mind, man. But let's
so you've now brought it up on another show just for additional comments. So here we are.
I told you it's bucket list shit, didn't I?
This is some kind of list. I'm not sure.
Just taking it back up in here right on time because I'm about to. Any more thoughts on the mini Kardashians before I pull this off and close this up?
And anybody got a Newport?
Like I said, a whole different kind of list, bro. Whole different kind of list.
If they was regular 5'7" women, you be all over these motherfuckers all day, every day. Just because they're a little bit shorter, you want to act like they not normal people. They normal people, man.
Who said that? I didn't put them on Front Street on my ready
to shoot them like
me. I didn't put them on Front Street. That was somebody else. But hey, hey,
they on Alex Machado's bucket list too. You know it is, Alex. Don't play with me. Hey, everybody, hey man, I want to experience a full life, and even if it's with a short ass woman.
Mm-hmm. You get those little waddles when they walk.
Like a half-life.
All right, man. Let's get this off the screen, man. Let's talk about
shit.
let's have some closing remarks, man. Let's get some pleasantries out before we go.
Hope you guys enjoyed our little show, and I'm running out of short jokes, man. I got nothing. I kind of exhausted them the last time around, especially like Minister Charles. What's up, man? You're slipping, bro. At least the Scrolls is out there doing the darn thing. Anyways, man, let me give you guys a bunch of love so we get the hell out of here and sleep and stuff. The Scroll, shout out to you, dog. Always good to have you. Always keeping it real in the chat. AC Adam, Ant Mass, very much the same for both of you. Alice Machado, thanks for coming through, bro. You. I'm not gonna do that. Minister Charles. I'm not. Minister Charles, I'm sure he knows some stuff here, man, that I'm trying not to get into. Cornelius Squalls, number 2, No Maniac. Big ups to you, my dude. Shout outs. Shout outs to It's Crimson. Chris Foster jumped in here just in time to say Jalen Johnson is sticking around, and I'm totally with him. Mr. Mayhem jumped to Oompa Loompas. The whole time we were looking at that, I couldn't prevent I was trying to prevent myself from y'all know the movie Spaceballs?
Fuck around, be on the short now. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth now.
You remember the movie Spaceballs with the dang 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 dang?
Dang,
Like, that was going through my head the entire time when I was like, no, I can't do it. Can't do it. Anyways, shout out to you, Mr. Mayhem. Always good to have you, my dude. Respect and props. Philip Charles Vander Hayden 4. That's some serious name. I assume you're from the Netherlands, and I give you a big thumbs up because the Netherlands is freaking awesome. Everybody should go. Everybody. AC Adam, shout out to you, bro. Big ups. Who else is out there?
Marlon Johnson, who just popped in. Shout out.
Oh, Marlon. Nick Rembert. I hope
shout out to Marlon Johnson.
Big ups, Marlon. Shout out to you, Super No Maniac Marlon Johnson, Super No Maniac Minister Charles Johnson, who got the subscription taken care of here tonight. Big shout outs to Nick Rembert. I hope the youngster's doing okay. Shout outs and prayers in that respect, man. Shout outs to our guy Paul Rodriguez and FFG Style, who's out there doing the darn thing in the chat as per normal. He will be with us on Saturday. Holding it down with Nomad, looking at the future as per normal. Well, not as per normal because normally it's on Friday, but this week it'll be done on Saturday. Who else we got out there? Am I missing? Nick Rembert. It's Crimson.
You get Squalls. You get Squalls.
Yeah. Can't forget Cornelius Squalls. Definitely got that. Dr. Earl jumped in with us for a little bit. Shout outs to you, Dr. Earl. Kenny Adams jumped in as well. I definitely said Paul Rodriguez, but I will say it again. Shout outs to Miguel Goncalves. Saw you out there. Ronaldo Swift, no relation to DeAndre Swift. Who else we got out there? Let me see if I'm missing anybody. Juju jumped in with us. What it do, Juju? Shout outs to you, man. And Marco King for coming in hot early, and MC Fact. Mad props to all you guys. Definitely continue to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button if you haven't done so just yet. Follow the Kedster at Kedz the Canuck on YouTube. Please give me a little bit of a follow and a subscribe. And when new content starts to pop off, you'll be notified. Same thing for the big homie underneath me. At Sports Chicago Style, definitely give him a little bit of love over there as well. He will appreciate it, as will Chef Trippin and the rest of the guys here, man. So let me shoot it down to the big homie. What do you say?
Right on. Thank you. They're the Canuck of the Kedz variety. Big up to Nomad and all of the maniacs out there who joined in the chat, the conversation, and gave your opinions and your thoughts. Much appreciated. And thanks for dealing with and bearing with ours as we work through our process, live right here on the Nomad Network. And Mr. Charles is like, look up the brat from Chicago. Yeah, she just had a baby with her quote unquote partner.
Wow. The motherfucker. That's why he won't be.
Big homie has like detailed information about her, so he been known about the brat already. So
yeah, Brad thick than the motherfucker, bro.
Wow.
She what was the line? Started paying attention to her ever since she pushed them titties up. I forget who said it, but yeah, that was a line. It's like the brat. Oh yeah, because she came out, she used to wear those sweatsuits all the time. And so you couldn't see that she was working with a little thickness underneath.
Man, Since I found out who she was, I was like, hold up, see it. She got some cuteness to her, and but you know,
Minister Charles, pray for both these dudes, man. Pray for them both.
Like them girls, man. I'm just gonna put that out there. But
go ahead. That's the wrong brat. Oh, my bad.
Oh,
there's multiple brats out there.
Oh, okay. Brat, the real brat might get mad about this motherfucker, whoever she is.
Right, you know, brat. You know, you say brat, it's the brat, not the brat.
No, this is the brat from The Shy.
I'm scared.
Not just the brat.
Down. Mr. Charles trying to lead me down the porn rabbit hole. I ain't going.
Because once you get in, you know, with all the lubricant, it's hard to get out.
I ain't going. I'm trying to tell you. But hey, Trip, make sure you shout out where all you are located at, how people can reach you. What are the sites that you're on, man? You gotta tell them, man.
Sports Chicago Style. And that's the channel on YouTube. That's also all of our social media platforms on the Facebook, the Twitter, Instagram, and the Blue Sky. And then if you want to support on the Ko-fi or the Patreon, Sports Chicago Style.
And the big one all the way to the left, Big Lucretia at biglacretia.com. Check it out.
Boom.
All right. So man, it was a great show, man. I had fun doing this as I always do. I look forward to this shit every fucking Wednesday night. Just so y'all know, man. I'm talking about me and my boys, man. This is a good time, man. This is one of those shows you get to kind of let it loose and kind of be free. And some of the stuff that was said tonight, don't take it personal, y'all. Don't take it personal. These are just comments and me bringing up whatever subject matter it is. It's just a point of having a conversation about it and let it go wherever it goes. It don't matter. It don't matter because at the end of the day, Chicago Bears and that front office is going to do whatever the hell they want to do with whatever the hell they want to do with the players.
These are facts.
That's what they're going to do, bro. And all we can do on the outside off season is speculate about what it would be. And it makes great content, does it not? Right? And so I just want to thank you guys for being here and to look forward to some of this new daily content that I'm going to put out. And I'm gonna turn it on. When I say I'm gonna turn it on, I'm gonna turn it on, dog. It's gonna be out there. I'm gonna turn on a whole bunch more of what you just seen in the last couple of days. And you know, it's just me, you know, being really, really appreciative.
Minus the little people, right?
Minus the little people, might be a little bit of that in there, man. We might stick a little bit of that in there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just me being really, really appreciative and us being really, really appreciative of what you guys bring us every single week and always supporting us with every single thing that we do. And so what is the response to that? Give them all that they can handle. And so I'm telling you guys, I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to turn it up a notch. And whatever you think about the Nomad Network and you like the content, it's coming up a notch because I'm going to be putting out videos and I'm going to, you know, give you my take on a whole bunch of stuff. Maybe Kedz and Trips will pitch in if they feel like it. If not, they won't. But I just promise you guys, you're going to get way more content on a daily basis from us. And that's my promise to you guys for being no maniacs and super no maniacs and supporting everything we absolutely do. So I just love you guys, man. And that's my way of saying thank you. Appreciate you guys so much. But with that being said, I want to leave you guys with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, people, there's no reason in the world why you cannot absolutely manifest it. Do not. And I repeat, do not be a prisoner of your own mind. But with that being said, we are out.
Ding, ding.